Chapter 13:18. Sometimes, an item is worth a treasure. You have to figure it out yourself. Night Sorrow refused without hesitation. The world was a dog-eat-dog world. No one in the heaven and earth pavilion knew each other. Everyone was his opponent, so he had to be careful. The thing that I want is a resource for my cultivation. As for the rest, I won't take a single thing. If you agree to cooperate, I can swear to the heavens that I won't make you my enemy on this level. Otherwise, I'll be killed by the heaven and earth pavilion, the white-robed woman said. What treasure? How difficult is it? Night Sorrow asked after hearing that the woman was willing to swear to the heavenly Tao. Since it was a treasure, Night Sorrow also wanted to take a look. Perhaps there would be a path to enlightenment in this strange place. Afterward, the woman in white told Night Sorrow that it was the eye of an energy storm. There were many skeletons around, and there were storage rings on the skeletons. What she needed was a rootless plant. The rootless plant grew not far from the eye of the energy storm, but there were evil spirits guarding it. She was repelled when she went there, but she didn't die because she relied on a secret technique. Night Sorrow knew what the eye of the energy storm was. It was a whirlpool formed by extremely dense energy. The center of the whirlpool was called the eye of the energy storm. Because of the density of the energy, it would produce some natural treasures. What kind of evil spirits are they? Night Sorrow asked. They are humans. They don't have any aura of life. It is very likely that they are cultivators who died in the past. Their intelligence was extinguished because of the special environment. They can use battle techniques, the woman in white said. Then, the woman explained the situation in detail. Her name was Hai Ling. She was a cultivator from the Black-Yellow Great World and a member of the Black-Yellow City's Great Elder Hai family. She saw two evil spirits, both of which were evil monarchs. They could use battle techniques, and their battle strength was very strong. Night Sorrow pondered for a moment before saying, if it's two evil spirit overlords, we can still kill them. The question is it worth it? It's worth it. There are a lot of rootless trees around the eye of the storm. I only need one that is more than 10,000 years old. If you can get it, the rest will be yours. Besides, those skeletons have storage rings, so it's impossible that they don't have treasures. There's an evil spirit among them. I suspect that it's Yuan Daoran. Yuan Daoran is one of the earliest cultivators in the world of samsara. Although he's not a giant yet, he's very famous. Human sovereign. I don't know about the human sovereign. Tell me more about it, Night Sorrow said. Sizing up Night Sorrow, Hai Ling was a little stunned. As a senior cultivator, there were too few people who didn't know about the human sovereign realm. However, in order to cooperate with Night Sorrow, she told him everything. The human sovereign realm was a giant, and one of the best among the giants. The only one who could contend with him was the Blood Blade Lord. Many years ago, after the two fought for the heavenly artifact, their whereabouts were unknown. The human sovereign is a human, the most outstanding cultivator of the human race. That's why he's called the human sovereign realm. He's the first giant of the human race and also the strongest. The Blood Blade Lord is a monster. I don't know what race he is, but the two's secret techniques are very domineering. For example, the human sovereign realm cultivates both chi and body. Even if he stands there without moving, the king can't hurt him. The Blood Blade Lord has the heavenly artifact, Blood Blade, so he's qualified to compete with the human sovereign realm, Hai Ling explained to Night Sorrow. After listening to Hai Ling's explanation, Night Sorrow realized how outstanding the human sovereign realm was. His followers were naturally not simple. Perhaps they had the human sovereign's secret techniques. Then let's give it a try. If there's a chance, we'll go and collect it. If there's no chance, then there's nothing we can do, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow's words were equivalent to his agreement. Hai Ling opened her mouth and repeated the heavenly Tao oath. The reason he agreed was because Night Sorrow thought it was an opportunity. The area around the eye of the storm energy was rich with spiritual treasures of heaven and earth. Hai Ling only saw the rootless, and she didn't detect anything else. The rootless was already a supreme treasure. It could make the cultivator's meridians and dantian flexible and tough. It could be used to refine the best king elixir. The soft jade muscle elixir was an extremely rare material. Most importantly, the elixir could solve some problems with the meridians and dantian. Night Sorrow thought it might be of some help to the Qing Emperor. After reaching an agreement, Night Sorrow and Hai Ling flew towards the eye of the energy storm. After flying for half a day, Hai Ling told Night Sorrow that they would reach the eye of the storm energy after another 10,000 miles. Night Sorrow stopped and set up a teleportation array. "What are you doing?" Hai Ling looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Night Sorrow glanced at Hai Ling. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. Then he set up an illusion array to hide the teleportation array. This is a teleportation array disk. It can be used to teleport without interference. Teleport here. If there's danger, it's up to you whether or not it can save your life. Night Sorrow took out a teleportation array disk and embedded it in the teleportation crystal in front of them. Then he threw it to Hai Ling. They didn't know each other before, and they didn't have any friendship. But Night Sorrow felt that since they were already teammates, if it could save her life, he should help her. Hai Ling nodded. Now she understood the purpose of the teleportation array in front of her. Head, hair, then the two flew towards the eye of the storm energy. "Can you hold off an evil spirit?" Night Sorrow asked as they flew. "There's no way I can defeat it. At most, I can hold it off for a while." "It's mainly up to you," Hai Ling said. Night Sorrow stared at Hai Ling. This was a bit of a trap. She couldn't even hold off one evil spirit. "Aren't you strong? I called you here to see if you can do it. I only want one rootless." "That's the price for giving you the information," Hai Ling said. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He felt that if there were more rootless and other resources near the eye of the energy storm, it wouldn't be too much for Hai Ling to ask for one rootless for one piece of information. Rootless was a natural treasure. It was an alchemy material that grew in energy. Without a root, it would grow by absorbing special energy. After flying for a while, the two of them arrived at the area where the eye of the storm was located. From far away, Night Sorrow could already see the wonder of heaven and earth. It was an energy vortex that stood between the sky and the earth. Thick energy rippled in all directions. "It's here," Hai Ling said. Actually, Night Sorrow didn't need Hai Ling to say it. He knew that this was the eye of the energy storm. "We'll talk about it after we deal with the evil spirits. I hope you can hold on," Night Sorrow said and flew forward. As soon as the two got close to the eye of the storm energy, two figures flew out. Evil spirits. Night Sorrow could tell that the two people who rushed out were evil spirits, not cultivators. As the name suggested, evil spirits were evil spirits. The eyes of the two people who rushed out were no longer human. They exuded a strong evil aura. "The one in the black robe, you come." Hai Ling shouted at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow knew that the one in the black robe should be the Emperor's follower, Yuan Daoist, that Hai Ling mentioned. He should be the stronger of the two evil spirits. Chapter 13-19. There was no other way. This time, Night Sorrow was the main target, so he had to bite this hard bone. If Hai Ling could bite it, she wouldn't have told him the news. Just as Hai Ling finished shouting, the two evil spirits also rushed forward. The energy on Night Sorrow's body fluctuated, and his clone appeared. The clone and the main body charged towards Yuan Daoist together. The other evil spirit's target was Hai Ling. Night Sorrow's reincarnation and the long sword in Yuan Daoist's hand collided. Then, the energy burst out and collided. Night Sorrow's body was pushed back a few feet, and Yuan Daoist also retreated a few feet. Night Sorrow's heart trembled. This was the first time he was pushed back in a head-on fight. It was enough to see how tyrannical this evil spirit Yuan Daoist was. Night Sorrow's body flashed and once again fought with evil spirit Yuan Daoist. Yuan Daoist was not afraid of the recoil at all, and he was directly on top after being pushed back. Night Sorrow's two clones fought together to stabilize the situation and have time to observe Yuan Daoist. Evil spirit Yuan Daoist's body was full of evil energy. His dantian, tendons, and bones were all black. Night Sorrow felt that this was because some kind of energy had invaded and then caused a mutation. Night Sorrow fought while studying Yuan Daoist's shortcomings. Evil spirit Yuan Daoist's attack was extremely tyrannical, and his speed was fast. He was not easy to kill. While Night Sorrow was thinking, there was a cry of pain from the side. Hai Ling was seriously injured. Her left shoulder was slashed by the other evil spirit. Although she managed to block the attack with her scimitar, the slash still cut into her shoulder. If she hadn't blocked it in time, she would have been dismembered by the slash. The evil spirit's attack was not over. The evil spirit then kicked Hai Ling's dantian, sending her body flying. Tell my family for me that walking on the path of the strong is my dream. I have no regrets even if I fall. I have let them down. Hai Ling, who was kicked away, shouted. Idiot, go. Night Sorrow threw out a trap and kill array disc, trapping the evil spirit that wanted to catch up with Hai Ling and kill her. At the same time, he shouted. He couldn't watch his teammates die and do nothing, even if they were temporary teammates. At this time, Hai Ling's dantian had been severely damaged, so she no longer had the ability to fight. However, she was still able to activate the array disc. She looked at Night Sorrow with a strange expression on her face as she was taken away by the transmission array disc. Seeing Hai Ling leave, Night Sorrow ate a lustrous golden pill and released the soul-extinguishing poison smoke. He knew that he would be in a predicament soon. Wanting to kill an evil Yuan Dao child in a frontal attack would be very difficult. Once that evil spirit broke through the death trap array disc, the pressure would increase. So, he had no choice but to use poison. After using the poison, Night Sorrow used afterimage body. He had to seize the opportunity to kill them. He had to defeat them one by one. He couldn't let the two evil spirits work together. At this time, Night Sorrow's main body and doppelganger were covered with lustrous golden light. The afterimage body was also covered with lustrous golden light. Because the afterimage body was condensed from Night Sorrow's energy, it had the medicinal properties of the lustrous golden pill. Night Sorrow was looking for an opportunity. After evil Yuan Dao child crazily attacked a few times, his condition suddenly declined. He was poisoned. Night Sorrow knew that evil Yuan Dao child was poisoned. It didn't matter if you were a human cultivator, an undead, or a demon beast. As long as you had spirit sea and consciousness, you would be affected. As soon as evil Yuan Dao child was affected by the poison, Night Sorrow's doppelganger and main body rushed towards him. The doppelganger directly attacked with Death Annihilation Slash. The Death Annihilation Slash brought out a black halo that wrapped around evil Yuan Dao child. Night Sorrow's doppelganger then pierced through his chest, blasting a big hole in his chest. Night Sorrow wanted to attack the head, but evil Yuan Dao child's long sword blocked there. Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash. Night Sorrow's main body roared. He waved his reincarnation slash and once again used his lost skill. The purple halo wrapped around evil Yuan Dao child, and Night Sorrow's reincarnation slash went out. After shaking off evil Yuan Dao child's long sword, Night Sorrow's reincarnation slash pierced through his forehead, shattering his spirit sea. Then, he turned around and blocked behind him. Because the other evil spirit that had broken through the trap and kill array had blasted a blade towards his back. With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow was sent flying. He had just used the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash and was in a weakened state. After being sent flying, Night Sorrow spat out a mouthful of blood. Because the other party's strength was very strong. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger blocked the evil spirit, giving his main body a chance to recover. After circulating the energy in his body and healing his injuries, Night Sorrow's main body once again rushed out and fought the remaining evil spirit with his doppelganger. Fortunately, Night Sorrow's doppelganger was still in peak condition. In addition, the soul-extinguishing poison smoke also had an effect on this evil spirit. After fighting for 15 minutes, Night Sorrow finally killed this evil spirit. After putting away the storage rings and weapons of the two evil spirits, Night Sorrow ate a healing pill and approached the eye of the energy storm. There were many skeletons around the eye of the storm. Their condition was a little worse than the two evil spirits that Night Sorrow had killed. After looking at them, Night Sorrow understood that after some time, these skeletons would also become evil spirits. This was because there was some evil energy within the energy vortex. At this time, Night Sorrow felt that something was wrong. His head was a little heavy, and the light emitted by his lustrous golden core was also suppressed. Night Sorrow, who had stimulated the 9 regions' origin power to protect his divine sea, looked into the energy vortex. He discovered that there was a skeleton-like stone inside the energy vortex that was emitting an evil aura. Night Sorrow understood that this evil stone was emitting an evil energy that attacked the soul. Without realizing it, one's soul would be corroded. Night Sorrow understood that he couldn't stay in this place for too long. Even if there were no evil spirits here, it was still very dangerous. The evil spirit was also an expert when it was alive. It was only because it was careless that it fell here. After putting away the storage rings on the skeletons, Night Sorrow looked at the rootless plants growing in the energy vortex. Rootless plants were top-quality alchemy materials. They could be used to refine the soft jade tendon pill that could change one's physique. At this time, several rootless plants were growing in the pure energy of the eye of the energy storm. Night Sorrow's body flashed and put the 6 or 7 plants into the space in the dragon cauldron, allowing the dragon cauldron to nourish them with energy. After looking again and confirming that he hadn't missed anything, Night Sorrow left in a flash. There was nothing else to discover here. The evil stone was a strange stone, but it was meaningless to him. On the other hand, he couldn't touch that thing as it didn't bring him any benefits. After leaving the vicinity of the eye of the storm, Night Sorrow meditated to recover. Then, he took out the teleportation array disc and teleported to the teleportation array he had set up. At this time, Hai Ling was healing in the illusion array. She had been slashed and evil energy had entered her body. Her injuries were very serious. The most serious was that her dantian had been kicked by the evil spirit, causing her to lose her combat strength. You came back too. There's nothing I can do about it. Those two evil spirits are too strong. It's useless even if you can withstand Daoist Yuan. I can't withstand the other evil spirit. It seems that I'm not fated to be able to change my dantian and meridians. Hai Ling sighed. What do you plan to do after you get the rootless plant? Night Sorrow asked. I'll eat it directly and strengthen my dantian and meridians. It's meaningless to talk about it now. Hai Ling was very disinterested. Chapter 13:20. It's too wasteful to eat it directly. You just want to change your dantian and meridians. I can refine the soft jade tendon pill. It's not a loss for you, Night Sorrow said as he took out the alchemy furnace. Update #/soonest Night Sorrow planned to use his clone to refine the pill. His main body needed to heal and protect his clone. Seeing Night Sorrow take out the rootless pill, Hai Ling's eyes were filled with disbelief. She had been severely injured in the beginning. She felt that Night Sorrow alone would not be able to fight against 2 monarch-rank evil spirits. However, Hai Ling soon understood that Night Sorrow had a trump card that she did not know about. Otherwise, he would not have succeeded. Night Sorrow took out the highest grade of rootless grass and began to prepare. Fortunately, he had all kinds of supplementary materials in his collection over the years. Night Sorrow used 6 days to refine the soft jade tendon pill. The moment the pill was out of the furnace, the sky cracked and lightning appeared. Night Sorrow knew that this was a pill tribulation. Night Sorrow opened the alchemy furnace. Then, more than 10 spinning pills appeared in the sky to be baptized by the lightning tribulation. After 15 minutes, the sky closed and 15 soft jade tendon pills with lightning patterns floated in the sky. Night Sorrow waved his arm and kept the pills in the jade bottle. Lightning pattern soft jade tendon pill. Hai Ling was at the peak of Star King, so she naturally knew what it was. I can give you one, Night Sorrow said. No, I want 3. I'll leave 2 for my grandfather and father, Hai Ling said. 1 or a 10,000-year-old rootless pill. You choose. Night Sorrow rejected directly. He had many people to take care of. He could not accept Hai Ling's exorbitant demand. You can refine it yourself. Why can't you give it to me? Hai Ling was unwilling to give up. Then I'll give you another choice. I can refine more, but there won't be any pill tribulation. So, I can give you 3 pills without lightning marks. As for whether you want 1 top-grade pill or 3 ordinary pills, you can choose for yourself, Yishan said after thinking for a moment. Then can you give me 1 with lightning patterns and 2 ordinary pills? Hai Ling was unwilling to give up and repeated her request. Okay. It's not that I'm stingy. The opportunity belongs to whoever gets it. 1 lightning pattern soft jade tendon pill and 2 ordinary soft jade tendon pills, Night Sorrow agreed. Night Sorrow then refined another cauldron of soft jade tendon pill and gave the 3 pills to Hai Ling. You saved me this time, so I owe you a favor, Hai Ling said after receiving the pill. It's nothing. At the very least, on this floor, we are teammates. I can't just watch my teammates die. This is a healing pill. It's also a top-grade pill. Take it and heal yourself. Night Sorrow gave Hai Ling another healing pill. He knew that Hai Ling's injuries were very serious. Hai Ling nodded and accepted the elixir. I have to go. There are still some things I have to do, Night Sorrow said. Is your harvest not enough? Why do you still want to fight? Hai Ling could not understand Night Sorrow's thoughts. I have to find a healing pill for my master. As long as I'm alive, I have to do it. It's safer here. Here's a trap and kill array disc for you. If you can't do it, run and hide in a safe place until the Heaven and Earth Pavilion closes. Night Sorrow took out an array disc and handed it to Hai Ling. After doing that, Night Sorrow stood up and told Hai Ling how to get out of the illusion array. Then, he walked out of the illusion array. If you're alive, come visit the Hai family in mysterious Yellow City. Hai Ling shouted at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow waved his hand and set off on his journey again. This time, he only had one purpose in coming here, and that was to find Ming Dao. Although Ming Dao could not completely cure the Qing Emperor, it could guarantee that his life would not be in danger. Looking at Night Sorrow's back, Hai Ling knew that Night Sorrow had the ability to continue, but she could not. Although she was at the peak of the Star King realm and was good at speed, she was still incomparable to Night Sorrow. Besides, the soft jade tendon pill was enough for her. Night Sorrow continued to wander in this space. When he was resting, Night Sorrow opened the storage ring he had collected. There were a lot of resources in each storage ring. Because everyone who came to the Heaven and Earth Pavilion was in their original body, they usually carried things with them in case of emergencies. If they died, they would accept it. If their original body died, what was the use of resources? Therefore, everyone would equip their original body to the teeth. The resources in Yuan Daoist storage ring were very rich. Night Sorrow actually saw the myriad Dao tome, which was exactly the same as his own. After the level, it was also blank. Night Sorrow understood that the level of the myriad Dao tome was the limit. The human sovereign should not have created the 9th level of the myriad Dao tome. In Xian Daozi's storage ring, there was nothing that Night Sorrow valued, but the resources were very rich. After all, the collection of an old monarch was very rich. On the 9th day, Night Sorrow found a teleportation array and entered the 22nd floor. Night Sorrow's heart was boiling and calm, and his fighting spirit was constantly rising. As time slowly passed, Night Sorrow broke through more and more floors. In the case of meeting opponents, he would meet at most a few people on each floor. Night Sorrow knew that there was a lot of space here. Everyone who came here for training was different. As Night Sorrow calmed himself down, he concocted a few more cauldrons of jade tendon bone pills. His family needed them, and so did the villains of the god-slaying squad. If he could help the people around him, he would. When Night Sorrow entered the 26th floor, he was immediately suppressed. It was full of astral winds and astral chi. Night Sorrow raised his protective energy shield and endured it. He did not understand what was going on. He quickly walked under the pressure of the astral chi and astral winds. He wanted to walk out of this strange circle because he would not be able to hold on for long. With his power of desolates exhausted, Night Sorrow tried to enter the space-time pagoda. However, he found that he couldn't. There were natural laws that blocked him from using spatial magical treasures. Tempering. Night Sorrow knew that this was tempering. If he could hold on, he would move on to the next floor. If he couldn't, then he would die. Next, Night Sorrow used his spatial energy to block. When the spatial energy was almost exhausted, Night Sorrow continued to use his void chi to block. Night Sorrow had calculated that if he used the 3 types of energy alternately, he would be able to withstand as much as a monarch. It could even be said that he surpassed a monarch. This was because when he used his void chi, he ate pills to recover his spatial and temporal energy. After using the 3 types of energy alternately for 2 rounds, Night Sorrow walked out of the vicious circle. If he didn't have any trump cards, he would die easily. Night Sorrow turned around and looked at the area filled with astral energy and astral winds. He felt a little emotional because this was too difficult. Not far ahead was the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow knew that it was getting harder and harder, but he couldn't retreat. He had to move forward. After entering the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow used his energy to protect himself. After exiting the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow didn't find anything special. However, just as he let his guard down, his opponent came. A figure with a metallic glow appeared in front of Night Sorrow. Second update. Thank you for the unsealing of 4 and Low yesterday. The website had been modified a little. The computer version could be viewed, and the mobile version could be viewed. If it's convenient, you can download the mobile version. It might be a little inconvenient for the time being, but you'll get used to it. You'll be more tolerant and understanding. Chapter 1321. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go Novels Web, I'll bring you a wonderful novel to read. Gold Man. This was not a human, but a metal life form. There were all kinds of strange things in the boundless world. Plants and minerals could achieve Tao. The gold man in front of him was a mineral that achieved Tao. The gold man's attack was fierce, and Night Sorrow could not take it head-on. In addition, he had not found the gold man's weakness. Night Sorrow used afterimage body. Then, his original body and clone separated to restrain the gold man. After fighting for a while, Night Sorrow realized that the gold man's body was tyrannical. It was unrealistic to cut the body. He could only attack the soul. If the body was strong, then the soul might be the weakness. After blasting out a time shock wave, Night Sorrow's original body and clone both used soul destruction / 2 dark purple crescent blades rushed toward the gold man's bald head. At this time, a golden light wave appeared on the gold man's head to block Night Sorrow's soul destruction / However, its attack also stopped. Obviously, the soul defense had a great impact on it. The gold man did not move, but Night Sorrow moved. Samsara and Space Splitter bombarded the gold man's body, destabilizing the energy in its body. Then, 2 dark purple crescent blades kept attacking. If he wanted to take down the gold man, he had to attack the soul. However, the gold man's soul defense was also very strong. Void Extreme Kill. Night Sorrow growled. His original body used Void Extreme Kill to stab at the gold man. Just now, he had used Space Revolving Dragon Kill twice. Several times shock waves had not broken the gold man's defense. Now, he planned to try using Void Extreme Kill, which had extremely strong penetrating power. Samsara had the ability to attack the soul, but the prerequisite was that it had to pierce the opponent's body. As the purple halo of samsara exploded, a hole was melted in the gold man's chest. Samsara pierced all the way in. This was the dominance of the supreme attribute. At this time, samsara, which had pierced into the gold man's body, emitted a special energy that rushed toward the spirit sea in the gold man's head. With the impact of this energy, the gold man's divine sea was shaken. At this moment, Night Sorrow's two soul destruction crescent moon / broke through the gold man's soul defense and entered his head. At that moment, Night Sorrow discovered that there was a white crystal in the gold man's spirit sea. The crystal and its exterior were wrapped in golden energy. Break. With a low growl, Night Sorrow controlled one of the crescent blades to land on the white crystal, dispersing the golden energy on the crystal and inside it. The other crescent blade slashed wildly in the gold man's spiritual sea. In fact, there was no need for Night Sorrow's crescent blade to slash wildly. After Night Sorrow had shaken off the energy on the crystal, the gold man's eyes had lost their light and consciousness. What a great harvest! Night Sorrow knew that he had a great harvest. This gold man was a top-grade crafting material, spiritual Tao copper essence. Of course, Night Sorrow would not destroy this gold man. As long as he refined the crystal in the gold man's spirit sea, he would be able to control the gold man. This gold man's combat power was at the monarch level. Seeing that the gold man's chest had automatically recovered, Night Sorrow felt that he should find a safe place to refine it. After flying for a while, Night Sorrow entered the space-time treasure pagoda to refine the gold man. As soon as he refined it, Night Sorrow discovered a problem. The secrets in the crystal were all natural patterns. If he did not study it thoroughly, he would not be able to make it recognize him as its master. However, he did not have the time. In the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, the gold man could not be counted on. Night Sorrow shook his head helplessly. Night Sorrow began to explore this space again. However, he did not find anything. After searching for half a month, he collected some ores. However, Night Sorrow did not find any space tunnel or teleportation formation. He did not know how to enter the 28th floor. After 2 months, Night Sorrow still did not find the opportunity to enter the 28th floor. On this day, Night Sorrow set up a tent and was resting when a cultivator appeared. No wonder I can't enter the 28th floor. It's because of you, there's no trigger condition. This old man attacked Night Sorrow with his sword. The long sword was filled with vibrations of space energy. He did not hold back at all. Monarch. Night Sorrow realized that his opponent was a monarch. Even if he was a monarch, he had to be a powerful one to enter the 27th floor. Night Sorrow used Afterimage to dodge his opponent's attack. Then, he counterattacked. The two of them fought with speed. In an instant, they had exchanged hundreds of moves. / first 90 rounds of addition, soul sword /. After a head-on collision, the old man let out a low growl. Then, a solid sword was shot out from his spirit sea. Soul attack secret skill. After countless battles, Night Sorrow had seen soul defense secret skills. However, soul attack secret skills were rare. He understood that this was the reason why this monarch could reach the 27th floor. He was strong and had a soul attack secret skill. He had the ability to enter the 27th floor. Night Sorrow was also good at soul attacks. He immediately used soul destruction / crescent blade and clashed with the monarch's soul sword blade. However, Night Sorrow was not as strong as this monarch. The crescent blade was not as strong as the soul sword blade. After the crescent blade was blocked, the soul sword blade continued to attack Night Sorrow. However, Night Sorrow's original body still had soul destruction / crescent blade. Night Sorrow's 2 crescent blades blocked the soul sword blade. Death destruction / After breaking the opponent's soul secret technique attack, Night Sorrow's doppelganger flashed and directly used the Great Death Obliteration /. After being surrounded by the rippling death halo, the old man let out a low growl. The halo on his head rippled and he struggled to break free from Night Sorrow's death destruction /. He used his longsword to block one of Night Sorrow's clones. However, at this moment, Yi Shang's real body's great emperor Samsara followed up. Yi Shang knew that his opponent was much stronger than him, both in terms of cultivation and soul power. He could not give his opponent a second chance to attack, nor could he give his opponent a chance to escape. When the old man appeared, he made it very clear. Knight Sorrow's existence prevented him from reaching the 28th floor. Similarly, this old man's existence prevented Knight Sorrow from reaching the 28th floor. Before the old man could react, Knight Sorrow's Samsara arrived in front of him with a purple halo. The purple halo that could affect the soul engulfed this sovereign. Knight Sorrow's Samsara entered the old man's forehead without any hindrance, piercing through his head and spirit sea. After killing his opponent, Knight Sorrow went forward to collect the storage ring and weapons. Knight Sorrow did not lack king weapons, but the members of the god-slaying team did. It would be good to take them back and give them to everyone. After Knight Sorrow collected the spoils of war, the mystic golden light on Knight Sorrow's arm moved. It turned into a protective shield and pulled Knight Sorrow into another space. The 28th floor. After checking that there was no danger, Knight Sorrow opened the old man's storage ring. A handwritten letter entered Knight Sorrow's vision. Chapter 1322. Genius 1 second remembers Love Go Novels Web, bringing you interesting novels to read. Say, the letter recorded some information about the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. Knight Sorrow didn't know about it, and even Tang Bo and the others didn't know about it. This was a letter from a predecessor, the one who saw the heavenly artifact. He had fallen, but he still had a clone outside. He entered the Heaven and Earth Pavilion and went through the 33rd floor. That meant that he didn't know how many floors there were in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, but there were only 33 floors in total, and the 33rd floor was the top floor. The author of the letter saw the heavenly artifact on the 33rd floor, but he didn't get it. Most importantly, as long as he entered the 33rd floor, he could make a request to the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. If he could complete it, then the Heaven and Earth Pavilion would fulfill his request. The author of the letter reached the 33rd floor. He wanted the heavenly artifact, and the Heaven and Earth Pavilion gave it to him. However, he didn't pass the test and couldn't get it. 28th floor. 5 more floors. Knight Sorrow was excited. This information was very important to him. As long as he passed 5 more floors, he would have a chance to ask the Heaven and Earth Pavilion's artifact spirit for enlightenment. Hard work. Knight Sorrow knew that the next 5 floors wouldn't be easy. The higher the floor, the harder it would be. Of course, the risk was proportional to the reward. Then, Knight Sorrow looked at the sovereign's collection. It was very rich. He reached the 27th floor. Apart from his previous collection, he also had a lot of rewards this time. However, these were all Knight Sorrow's now. Knight Sorrow also found the Soul Spirit Sword Chop book. After looking at the book, Knight Sorrow smiled. He already had the Soul Destruction Chop, so he naturally wouldn't choose to cultivate it. However, this Soul Spirit's secret technique could be learned by others, and he didn't have to worry about the inheritance. Since he got it himself, he could teach it to whoever he wanted. After packing up, Knight Sorrow continued forward. As he moved forward, Knight Sorrow realized that this was a terrifying space. There were no large beasts, but there were groups of poisonous beasts. They were fast and poisonous. Knight Sorrow had secretive true body and the detoxification pill. Poisons that were fatal to ordinary cultivators were not a threat to him. However, finding the spatial passageway to the 29th floor was very difficult. After spending 2 months and dodging countless poisonous creatures, Knight Sorrow finally found the passageway to the 29th floor. After setting up a comprehensive defense, Knight Sorrow entered the 29th floor. However, Knight Sorrow didn't encounter any attacks and was rather safe. Knight Sorrow let out a sigh of relief, but it was only for a moment before an opponent appeared. It was a wind-fire dragon. The wind-fire dragon was extremely fast as it continuously attacked in the air. Wind blades and flames continuously bombarded Knight Sorrow. Facing the wind-fire dragon that was extremely talented, Night Sorrow went all out. While dodging with all his might, he released the spatial pagoda and 8-dragon cauldron and smashed them towards the wind-fire dragon. The space-time pagoda and cauldron of 8 dragons were huge, so their smashing power was terrifying. A moment later, the wind-fire dragon, which was so huge that it couldn't dodge, was smashed to pieces. Its scales and blood flew everywhere. The furious wind-fire dragon continued to charge at Sorrow, its power even more explosive. Night Sorrow's doppelganger and his doppelganger both activated the illusion array discs. After holding them in their hands, they quickly left the battlefield. However, their sole power was still controlling the 2 treasures to attack the wind-fire dragon. Since they couldn't see Night Sorrow, the wind-fire dragon attacked with a large area. Wind blades, flames, tail sweeps, etc. They wanted to find Night Sorrow. The wind-fire dragon's method was very effective. Once Night Sorrow's illusion array was attacked by the energy, ripples would appear and he would be discovered by the wind-fire dragon. Luckily, Night Sorrow's speed was quite fast. After being discovered, he instantly teleported away, causing the wind-fire dragon's violent attacks to miss. The wind-fire dragon was quite annoyed because it could only passively take a beating. It couldn't do anything to Night Sorrow. After fighting for 2 hours, the wind-fire dragon's aura became much weaker. This was because it had been continuously attacking with high intensity, and it had also been heavily damaged by the spatial pagoda and 8-dragon cauldron. Since it couldn't defeat Night Sorrow, the wind-fire dragon planned to retreat. However, Night Sorrow was unwilling to do so. It had been madly attacking for 2 hours, and now it wanted to give up. Night Sorrow chased after him from behind, and the 2 Dharma treasures constantly bombarded each other. After 2 hours of chasing, the wind-fire dragon couldn't hold on any longer. Even though it had a lot of life force, it couldn't withstand Night Sorrow's attacks for 4 hours. Its life force had already been depleted, and it was about to die. Sorry. This is the way of the world. I don't want you to suffer, so I'll send you off. Night Sorrow's body flashed, and he appeared in front of the wind-fire dragon. With a single attack, he pierced through the wind-fire dragon's forehead, killing it. The wind-fire dragon wasn't a pure dragon, but its essence blood was all treasures. It had been losing normal blood, but the precious essence blood and heart blood were still there. After the wind-fire dragon died, Night Sorrow quickly put the wind-fire dragon's corpse into the 8-dragon cauldron because he could feel the wind-fire dragon's energy dissipating. Tang Bo and Tang Yi had emphasized a few times that the lives that died in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion were nourishment for the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. Since they were nourishment, their energy and essence would be taken away. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. Night Sorrow naturally wouldn't let the wind-fire dragon's corpse lose its energy, so he immediately put it into the 8-dragon cauldron. Just as Night Sorrow put away the wind-fire dragon, a spatial tunnel appeared not too far away from Night Sorrow. Looking at the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow understood that the wind-fire dragon was the guard of the 29th level. If he could kill it, he would be able to enter the 30th level. If he couldn't, then he would end up in the wind-fire dragon's stomach. After Night Sorrow consumed the life spirit fluid and holy spirit fluid to recover, he entered the spatial passageway after setting up a comprehensive defense. This was a special world. The spirit chi was extremely dense, and it was filled with peace and serenity. This peace and serenity calmed down Night Sorrow's restless heart. Night Sorrow tried to return to the 8-dragon cauldron, and he was able to enter it. After entering the 20th level, Night Sorrow could no longer enter spatial treasures, which meant that he couldn't avoid battles. Now that he could, Night Sorrow was very happy. He entered the 8-dragon cauldron and started to deal with the wind-fire dragon's corpse. The dragon's body was full of treasures, and they were all top-grade materials for refining pills and equipment. Night Sorrow used an hour to deal with it. After brewing a pot of tea and resting for a while, Night Sorrow started to explore the 30th level. There were no high-level beasts in the 30th level, but there were many pills and materials, and they were all of the king grade. Night Sorrow collected them as he explored. He felt that the 30th level was the true journey of opportunities, and cultivators would be rich once they came here. In a special environment, Night Sorrow saw soul cultivation liquid and soul cultivation tea. These were treasures for sovereigns. Night Sorrow still had a stock of soul cultivation liquid, but he didn't have much of it. However, there seemed to be a limit. After Night Sorrow collected 9 drops of soul cultivation liquid from the inverted stalactite, he stopped producing soul cultivation liquid. Chapter 13:23. After that, Night Sorrow collected the soul-nurturing tea. His wives could not use the soul-nurturing liquid, but they could consume the soul-nurturing tea. It could increase their soul power and cultivation. After collecting the soul-nurturing tea, Night Sorrow continued to walk around the 30th floor. He knew that this was a chance for him to rest and recuperate. After 2 more floors, he would be able to enter the final floor, the 33rd floor. Night Sorrow's path on the 30th floor changed. He did not find the opportunity to enter the 31st floor. Night Sorrow felt that he did not find the key point. If he did, he would naturally enter the 31st floor. After a month, the mysterious golden light on Night Sorrow's arm changed and wrapped around Night Sorrow. There was a time limit. Night Sorrow understood that the 30th floor was a month. When the time was up, he could enter the next floor. At this time, the mysterious golden light began to pull Night Sorrow into another space. The 31st floor was like a large palace. However, the moment Night Sorrow entered, a strong pressure appeared. The pressure attacked Night Sorrow. It was an attack on Night Sorrow's soul. At this time, Night Sorrow could not avoid it. He could only sit down cross-legged and endure the pressure. The pressure continued to suppress Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow knew that this was what he could endure. If he could not, his consciousness would be attacked and he would become an idiot. If it was serious, his spirit ocean would be shattered. After activating his light of virtue to resist the pressure, Night Sorrow endured it. 7 days, 10 days, and on the 21st day, the pressure disappeared. A spatial tunnel appeared in the middle of the palace. A test. This was a pure test. Night Sorrow understood that before the 30th floor of the heaven and earth pavilion, danger and opportunity coexisted. The 30th floor was a pure reward. Now, it was a pure test. After recovering to his best state, Night Sorrow entered the spatial tunnel. As the energy rotated, the environment and space around Night Sorrow changed. Then, he appeared in another palace. The 32nd floor. After entering the 32nd level, Night Sorrow had already made his preparations. This was the final test to enter the 33rd heaven. After passing this test, he would be able to know whether or not there was an enlightened Tao. If there was, then it would depend on his ability. If there wasn't, then this would be a pure experience. Just as Night Sorrow was preparing, the test arrived. Energy pressure, willpower pressure, and soul pressure rolled over. Overall suppression was much more terrifying than the 31st floor. Monarch rank. Energy oppression was monarch rank, will oppression was monarch rank, and soul oppression was monarch rank. This was a comprehensive monarch rank oppression test. Night Sorrow used a shockwave in his protective barrier, which could reduce the consumption of energy. Then, he used the spacetime willpower to resist the pressure from the heaven and earth pavilion's mixed willpower. In response to the soul suppression, Night Sorrow activated the soul orb. While defending his soul, he also activated the golden light of virtue. The pressure was great, and Night Sorrow was bearing it all. After enduring for 2 hours, Night Sorrow's spatial energy and power of desolates were more than half depleted. He planned to enter the spatial treasure with his real body and use his clone to resist. However, he realized that there were restrictions again. This meant that he could not enter the spatial treasure and had to use his real body to resist. In such a situation, replenishment was more important. Night Sorrow casually took out resources to replenish his consumption. However, Night Sorrow realized that he could not communicate with the spatial ring under the restrictions of the heaven and earth law. Without any external interference, Night Sorrow understood what was going on. He could not take advantage of the situation. He had to rely on his own strength to avoid all external forces. In such a situation, Night Sorrow had to make arrangements. He could not use only one type of energy. He had to use 3 types of energy alternately. This way, he might be able to withstand it. Looking at the original chapter, Night Sorrow's soul power was now at the monarch rank. With the golden light of virtue weakening the pressure, his soul defense was possible. As for the comprehension of willpower, Night Sorrow's spacetime willpower and nihility willpower were interchangeable. He also had the monarch rank resistance. Night Sorrow was worried about his own energy. Although his time and space willpower were at the advanced king rank, there was still a gap between them and the monarch rank. He could make up for it with his wisdom and usage. The pressure was endless. The energy within the heaven and earth pavilion was like a tidal wave that constantly battered Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was like a reef that resisted the waves. No matter how ferocious the waves were, he would remain unmoved. After a day, Night Sorrow's condition had deteriorated. However, his fighting spirit was high. He believed that if other monarchs could do it, he could do it too. Since the Heaven Masters were not allowed to enter, there would be no Heaven Master level test. After 2 days, Night Sorrow's condition was low. With a low roar, Night Sorrow activated his battle spirit. The battle spirit could not weaken the pressure from the Heaven and Earth pavilion, but it could improve Night Sorrow's condition. Time slipped away slowly. The energy in Night Sorrow's body was decreasing. No matter how he planned to use it, the consumption was still there. His soul power was also greatly consumed because he had been constantly activating his energy to resist the pressure from the Heaven and Earth pavilion's willpower. Night Sorrow felt that he could not take it anymore. He had done everything he could, but the test here was too difficult. He could not obtain the path of enlightenment not because he did not work hard enough, but because the pressure from the Heaven and Earth pavilion was not something he could withstand. If he could not withstand it, he would die. Night Sorrow did not regret dying. Some things had to be done even if he knew that he would die. This was perseverance and faith. It was a quality that one could not lose. After he thought things through, Yi Shan became much more at ease. His face, which had been contorted with all his might, became much calmer. Ask the heart. Night Sorrow asked his own heart. In the past years, he had worked hard, fought, and never gave up on his faith. He had a clear conscience. He did not let himself down. Night Sorrow also understood what he had always wanted. It was to charge towards the path of an expert. It was to protect his family, his loved ones, and the 9-domain world. Even if he failed, he would not regret it. Calm. Night Sorrow was very calm. As Night Sorrow comprehended his state of mind, his weakened soul power once again erupted with potential. It even had a faint golden light. Enlightenment and awakening were cultivation. It was the cultivation of one's state of mind and soul. After comprehending, Night Sorrow's soul power had a holy light. At this moment, the 9-domain world was also filled with golden light. Accompanied by Yi Qingyan, the Qing Emperor, who was drinking tea by the lake in the 9-domain world city in the sky, stopped. Qingyan, your father has made great achievements again. The Qing Emperor looked at the golden light in the sky and said, Grandmaster, my father is not cultivating. He has gone to the Xuanhuan Great World. Yi Qingyan said, You don't understand. Cultivation is not necessarily cultivation of energy. Your father is now a virtuous saint. This light is the virtuous golden light. In the 9-domain world, if your father says that the river flows backward, the river will flow backward. If your father says that the sun and the moon have no light, there will be no light in this world. The Qing Emperor said. He was very pleased with his disciple's achievement. This was an unimaginable realm of cultivation of mind and morality. Chapter 1324. Yi Qingyan was stunned because she didn't understand. Your father used to be a body of merit in the 9-domain world, and he contributed a lot to the 9-domain world. He also paid attention to his cultivation, and he was very strict with himself. Not only did the nine-domain world's origin acknowledge him, but the heavenly Tao also acknowledged him. However, he's not in a good situation now, the Qing Emperor said. What's going on? At this moment, Misty Rain and Jun Xuanji also arrived. Some insights can only be gained during times of crisis, when one is facing everything calmly. It can even be said that one can only gain insights when one is on the brink of death. Let's go to the Heaven's Ceiling Great Hall to take a look. After thinking of some things, the Cyan Emperor was somewhat anxious. After arriving at the Heaven's Ceiling Great Hall, they didn't see Night Sorrow. At this moment, Night Sorrow's clone in the Heaven's Ceiling Great Hall was affected by his original body and was also gaining enlightenment. They decided to wait here. The Qing Emperor was worried about Night Sorrow. He knew that some enlightenment could only be gained at the end of one's life. Now that the golden light of merit was about to appear in the nine-domain world, it could be a good thing or a bad thing. In the 30th heaven of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, Night Sorrow's face was calm. If one looked carefully, one could even see a calm smile on his face. Just as they were talking, the pressure on Night Sorrow disappeared, and the great hall became calm again. The golden light of profound yellow wrapped around and pulled Night Sorrow to the next level again. One day later, Night Sorrow opened his eyes. It was still a great hall, but it was much more simple and solemn. A mysterious aura surrounded the hall, and a man stood in the middle of the hall with his hands behind his back. Night Sorrow stood up, and the man also turned around. Countless years have passed, and you're the third person to enter the 33rd heaven. The first two were sovereigns, and they were invincible sovereigns. You're not bad to be able to reach here, the man in golden armor with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow greets Senior, Night Sorrow said as he bowed. Virtuous Merit Saint. It's a pity that you are not a member of our Black-Yellow Great Worlds world group. Still, I am very happy to see a genius like you. The man nodded at Night Sorrow, his eyes filled with praise. Night Sorrow found that the origin of the Black-Yellow Great World and the origin of the world of Samsara were completely different in aura. The origin of the world of Samsara had an oppressive and magnificent aura, while the origin of the Black-Yellow Great World had a thick and sharp chi power. Don't speak first. This Lord set up the Heaven and Earth Pavilion's test for the sake of nurturing some geniuses and destroying some mediocre geniuses. You are a genius. If you stop now, the rewards this time around would be yours. But if you speak, you have to follow the rules. No one can change this, not even this Lord. The source energy of the world of reincarnation spoke. Thank you for your reminder, Senior. Night Sorrow is not here for resources, nor for opportunities. I am here to solve a problem in my heart. If I can get what I want, I am willing to keep everything I have gained this time, Night Sorrow said. It's a good thing for young people to have ambitions, but there is a limit. You are young and have a body of merit. You are blessed by the heavenly Tao. If you keep going steadily, you will achieve great things. Why do you have to risk your life? As a cultivator, you need to have the courage to risk your life. But you also need to know when to stop. The two geniuses who entered the 33rd floor all wanted the Heavenly Tao artifact. Unfortunately, without exception, both of them died here. The Heavenly Tao artifact is not that easy to obtain, said the origin of the Black-Yellow Great World. I am not here for the Heavenly Tao artifact. I am here for a material. Night Sorrow knew that the origin of the Black-Yellow Great World had misunderstood. It might know about the Black-Yellow Great World, but it did not know about the world of Samsara. What material? Asked the origin of the Black-Yellow Great World after being stunned. The enlightened Tao. The enlightened Tao that can repair a cultivator's dantian and meridians, said Night Sorrow. You are fine, but you are asking for the enlightened Tao. It seems that you are doing it for someone else, said the origin of the Black-Yellow Great World after sizing up Night Sorrow. To save someone. To save my master. Night Sorrow then told the origin of his situation. I understand. But this Heaven and Earth Pavilion has its own rules. Whether you are asking for the heavenly Tao artifact or a spiritual stone, the test is the same. There is a 90% chance of death. You might not even have a chance, said the origin of the black-yellow great world. There are some things that must be done. If I miss it because my belief is not firm enough or because I am not brave enough, then I will not be able to face myself. Thank you for your advice, Senior, said Night Sorrow. I don't have the enlightened Tao here, but I do have a heavenly Tao. The effect of a leaf is equivalent to the enlightened Tao. The origin of the black-yellow great world looked at Night Sorrow and gave him the answer. Then this junior will ask for a leaf of the heavenly Tao. Night Sorrow's attitude was firm. He did not ask for a great harvest. He only wanted to solve the problem of the Qing Emperor. Firm attitude. But there are some things that I still have to say. You are not from the black-yellow great world. The chances of the heaven and earth pavilion are for the cultivators of the black-yellow great world. For those from other worlds, I will also give them a chance, but the difficulty will be higher. I did not make things difficult for you because you have a body of merit. But now, I have a request. The origin of the black-yellow great world looked at Night Sorrow and said. Square root original first. Post, Senior, Night Sorrow came here according to the rules of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. Please make an exception. Night Sorrow is willing to accept the test. Night Sorrow's heart skipped a beat. Some of the disadvantages of not being a cultivator of the black-yellow great world still appeared. Rules? I can give you a chance to accept the rules of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion's test. I can also not give you a chance. I can't kill you. That will harm my own fate. Can I at least send you out? The origin of the black-yellow great world looked at Night Sorrow and snorted. Senior, Night Sorrow is young and inexperienced. I'm afraid I can't fulfill your request. Night Sorrow bowed and said. That's another matter. That's another matter. You've intentionally suppressed your own source energy. However, there's nothing in this Heaven and Earth Pavilion that can hide from me. You're the Realm Lord and you're the Supreme Source Energy. Besides, there's another source energy in your body. If I'm not wrong, it should be the source energy of the world of reincarnation. He should have told you something. The source energy of the Xianhuang Great World spoke. Night Sorrow did not say a word. Because it was the truth. Now, I will give you a choice. If you agree to one of my conditions, the Heavenly Tao will reward you. In addition, if you pass the test, I will give you an opportunity. Whether you can get it depends on your ability. The origin of the black-yellow great world said. Senior, is this appropriate? I'm just following the rules. Night Sorrow was a little helpless. He could not give up the enlightened Tao, which was the current heavenly Tao. But he did not want to be bound. Rules? Not to mention the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, even in the black-yellow great world, I am the rule. You can only choose one. The origin of the black-yellow great world was very strong. It directly cut off Night Sorrow's escape route. Senior, please tell me your conditions. I'll think about it. Night Sorrow said. Second watch. Chapter 1325. Unseal. When the Xianhuang world is destroyed, come and help me. Take my origin and give me a chance to develop again, said the origin of the Xianhuang world. How do I help you? Night Sorrow would not agree to other people's requests. Once he agreed, he would do his best. It's very simple. You have the supreme attribute and so does your world. Your supreme attribute is new, so you still have a long life. But I don't. When the time comes, I will need you to protect my origin from being destroyed. After a period of protection, I will naturally continue to reproduce and return to my current state. What you need to do is to protect me. Of course, you will be the benefactor of the world of samsara at that time and you will also receive a lot of benefits, said the origin of the Xianhuang world. Okay, I'll take it. As long as I'm still alive, said Night Sorrow. You're right. That's right. First of all, you've got to stay alive. That's because the next stage is going to be extremely difficult. There have been 2 geniuses who had made it here in the past. However, both of them had fallen. This rule was set by your Lord a long time ago, and so was the test. As for whether or not you can clear it, that's all up to you. As for the outcome, your Lord will leave it to the heavens. The source of Xianhuang world spoke up. Then let's do it. Yishang said. Okay, then it's up to you. Go to sleep. The origin of the Xianhuang world waved his sleeve and the energy in the hall shrouded Night Sorrow. After being shrouded by the energy, Night Sorrow entered a strange state. In Zhuyuan village, Night Sorrow went out with Eben on his back. Brother Night Sorrow, I want a rabbit. Brother Night Sorrow, I want a bear's tooth to make a necklace. Night Sorrow nodded to the children of Zhuyuan village and said, wait for me. I will do it. Day after day, Papa Gu grew old. Night Sorrow got married and had children. He also grew old gradually. When he was so old that he could not move, Night Sorrow asked himself if he would have a different life if he had strongly requested Papa Gu to go out and cultivate. In Zhuyuan village, Night Sorrow went out with Eben on his back. Night Sorrow, bring a big guy back to go with the wine. Uncle Nyo's good wine is waiting for you. Uncle Nyo of Zhuyuan village shouted to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow hunted the black scale beast and brought it back to the village. Night Sorrow told Papa Gu again. And Papa Gu agreed with Uncle Nyo. After countless trials and tribulations, Night Sorrow finally made it to the medicinal valley. However, under the threat of Qin Hai and Qin Shan, he retreated. In the end, he became a guard at a medicinal shop. He only managed to cultivate to the core formation stage. His longevity was over, and he sat in the mansion he had earned. He felt that he had not resisted. If he had persisted in the past, perhaps his life would have been different. Zhuyuan. Life after life was placed in front of him. But all of them had flaws. Life was full of different forms. Life after life. At this moment, Night Sorrow was already a monarch. When he saw his opponents coming, he could not resist. Sikong Chuyu fell. Aoi fell. His parents fell. Even Qin Yen fell in his arms. When Qin Yen touched her wound and said, Father, I'm in pain, Night Sorrow, who never cried, cried. What did he want all these years? What did he want? To protect his family and the people around him. Why couldn't he do it? With the shouts, Night Sorrow understood one thing. If he wanted to protect his family and his family, he had to be invincible. His combat power was unparalleled. Night Sorrow opened his eyes. After wiping the corners of his eyes, he bowed to the origin of the Xuanhuan Great World. Thank you, Senior. It seems that you really understand and understand. This is the illusion of life. There are 100 lives. If you don't wake up after 100 lives and don't understand your flaws, you won't wake up again. Your soul will scatter and become nourishment for the pavilion of heaven and earth. Only by understanding your shortcomings can you break the illusion of life. Actually, I've seen the 100 lives in your inner world. You cultivate your heart and morals. You don't have any desires or fights. You are a perfect human. However, you lack a spirit. The spirit to go against the heavens. Only by being invincible and having unparalleled combat power can you give the people around you a sense of security, said the origin of the Xuanhuan Great World. Night Sorrow understands. I understand a life without action and a life without regrets. Therefore, I know what I should do in the future, said Night Sorrow. Congratulations. Since the formation of the Xuanhuan Great World, you are the only practitioner who has passed the test of the 33 levels of heaven. Although you are not from the Xuanhuan World Group, I'm still happy for you. The origin of the Xuanhuan Great World nodded to Night Sorrow. Then, the origin of the Xuanhuan Great World waved his hand. A strand of energy wrapped around a 7-leaf plant appeared. This is the way of heaven. Its effect is far beyond the way of enlightenment. One leaf can kill a person and turn him into a skeleton. In your master's case, one leaf is enough. But don't waste it. You cultivate your body. If you can make further progress in the future, you can use it to cultivate your body. It's an amazing material. There is no way of heaven in the world anymore, said the origin of the Xuanhuan Great World. All for me, said Night Sorrow. I said I'll give you double the reward. Are you going to ask for something else? If so, you can only take one leaf of the way of heaven, said the origin of the Xuanhuan Great World. Then it's him. So what if it's a divine weapon of heaven? It's an external object after all. Strength is the most important thing, said Night Sorrow. That's right. The origin of the world of samsara should have told you something. It should also help you. If you have any difficulties in the future and need my help, you can come to the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, said the origin of the Xuanhuan Great World. At the same time, it handed the way of heaven to Night Sorrow. The way of heaven needs the power of the world's origin to grow. It will never wither. Take good care of it. Night Sorrow nodded. He was very happy. With the way of heaven in his hand, Night Sorrow no longer had to worry about the Qing Emperor's life. Young man, you've completed the trial of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion perfectly. It's a perfect journey. The origin of the Xuanhuan Great World congratulated Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow also bowed to the origin of the Xuanhuan Great World. He was very grateful. Night Sorrow had never lacked gratitude. The origin of the Xuanhuan Great World nodded to Night Sorrow. Then, it waved its arm. Night Sorrow felt the space-time change. When he reappeared, he was in the void outside the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. There were other figures in the void. They were all sent out by the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. At this time, there was another fight in the sky. There were people who were at a disadvantage. Now that they met again, how could they not kill? Tang Bo and Tang Yi flew to Night Sorrow's side. It's good that you're safe and sound. It's so fast this time. In the past, it would take at least 10 years. This time, it hasn't even been 3 years, Tang Yi muttered. At this time, Junhua and Hai Ling also came to Night Sorrow's side. Night Sorrow, Hai Ling, formally invite you to visit the Sea King's mansion. Hai Ling looked at Night Sorrow and said. Thank you. But it will be a little later. I have to deal with another matter first. Brother Jun, can you take me to Wuling Mountain later? Night Sorrow looked at Junhua. Say it. Chapter 1326. Unseal. Okay, when? Junhua was stunned for a moment. As soon as possible. Can we do it now? Night Sorrow asked. Tang Bo and Tang Yi didn't understand why Night Sorrow suddenly wanted to go to Wuling Mountain, but the two of them expressed that they were willing to accompany Night Sorrow. But at this moment, a saber aura charged towards Night Sorrow. It was a black metal man. Puppet. Night Sorrow knew that it was a puppet of the Celestial Sect. Now that it was really here to assassinate him, it was merciless. The main reason was that fighting was not prohibited here. Courting death. Datura, who had received a message from his subordinate, came to pick up Night Sorrow. When he saw this scene as soon as he arrived, he was furious. He rushed out and fought with the puppet controlled by Elder Jia of the Celestial Sect. The puppet of the Sky Pillar sect was powerful because the internal formation could produce destructive energy, so its combat power was tyrannical. However, what kind of combat power did Datura have now? He could kill other Sky Pillars, so he suppressed this Sky Pillar level puppet and forced it to retreat. In the end, he used the Death Destruction Slash and directly enveloped the black puppet. Then, he slashed the black puppet's head. At this moment, the puppet stopped moving. A figure appeared and spat out blood as he flew backward. This person was Elder Jia. Datura didn't cut through the puppet's defense just now, but he destroyed the formation inside the puppet. Elder Jia was also injured. The puppet was shaken until it couldn't operate properly. Elder Jia naturally had to escape, or he would be killed inside. However, Elder Jia couldn't escape. Without the puppet, he was just a monarch. Datura was one of the best among the sky pillars, let alone a monarch. She didn't even use her ultimate move. She chased after Elder Jia and killed him with 2 slashes. Datura put away Elder Jia's storage ring and puppet. Then, he looked at Night Sorrow. I told you to wait for me. Why didn't you behave? Hee, I just came out as well. You came quickly, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then come back with me. Datura said. Wait for a moment. I've been asked by someone to take care of some matters. After that, I'll go back. Night Sorrow said. He wanted to take care of Jun Yunan's matter. Then I'll go with you. Datura was now worried about Night Sorrow. There were too many people who wanted to kill Night Sorrow. Then, Night Sorrow, Datura, Tang Bo, and Tang Yi went to the teleportation formation in the Xianhuang city and went directly to Mount Wuling. Brother Yi, who are you planning to meet? I can introduce you. After exiting the teleportation array, Junhua looked at Night Sorrow. I wonder if Brother Jun knows someone called Jun Yunan? Night Sorrow suddenly remembered that Jun Yunan and Junhua were both surnamed Jun. He could ask Junhua. If there was news, he didn't have to go to Mount Wuling officially. Jun Yunan. How do you know this name? After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Junhua was stunned. I saw his skeleton in the pavilion of heaven and earth. He asked me to help him with something. I want to see his wife, Night Sorrow said. Brother Yi, I won't hide it from you. Jun Yunan is my uncle. It's difficult for him to see my aunt. After my uncle's death, my aunt hasn't seen any guests for 3 million years. The mountain master doesn't allow anyone to disturb her. Junhua said. The great ancestor of the Jun family was an elder of the Mount Wuling. He had a good relationship with the Mount Wuling master, so Jun Yunan married the Mount Wuling master's daughter. As for Junhua, he was a junior who was valued by the Mount Wuling master and was taken in as a disciple. Of course, their seniority was different. First, it was the official version. Second, the other versions were all pirated versions. Thank you, Brother Jun. Night Sorrow cupped his hands to Junhua. Then Junhua took Night Sorrow and the others to a yard to rest. He went to report. Actually, even if you don't report, someone will come. Datura asked. The Mount Wuling master was a top force. They had a powerful figure. Her arrival would be sensed by them and they would come soon. Night Sorrow then told Datura what happened. While they were talking, a tall and sturdy man appeared in front of the yard. You are? The tall and sturdy man looked at Datura with suspicion. Datura from the dark abyss in the world of samsara. I'm here to accompany a friend. Datura looked at the man and said his identity. The man in front of him was a powerful figure. I'm the Mount Wuling master. I didn't know that the Dark Dominator would come. Sorry for not coming out to meet you. The Mount Wuling master cupped his hands to Datura. Then they sat down in the yard. Under the Mount Wuling master's inquiry, Night Sorrow told him his purpose. Alas! Jun Yunan was my son-in-law. Unfortunately, he was poisoned and there was no cure. He could only go to the pavilion of heaven and earth to try his luck. But he still died. The Mount Wuling master sighed. After a while, Junhua appeared with a woman with white hair who didn't look old at all. After entering the yard, the woman first greeted the Mount Wuling master and then said to Night Sorrow and the others, I'm Jun Yunan's wife. It's like this. When I entered the heaven and earth pavilion this time, I went to the place where Senior Jun fell. I've already buried him. This is his storage ring. After this junior opened it, I found out about his last words. This junior didn't touch any resources and only learned Senior Jun's afterimage. What he wanted the most was a piece of thunder core iron that he obtained. He hoped that I could bring it back so that Senior could forge a suitable weapon for it. Yi Shang took out Jun Yunan's storage ring and handed it to the white-haired woman. He missed me before he died. Yunnan, I should have gone with you. The white-haired woman's voice was choked with sobs. At the same time, she took the storage ring. My condolences. Now, Senior Jun's wish has been fulfilled. Night Sorrow said. The white-haired woman took out a piece of purple ore from the storage ring. Then, she handed Jun Yunan's storage ring to Night Sorrow. I know him. His last words were for you to bring the Thunder Core Iron back. These resources must be a gift to you. Even if you didn't come, no one would know and no one would say anything about you. Also, I'll remember your kindness for burying my late husband. Senior, you're too kind. Night Sorrow shook his head. He felt that Jun Yunan meant to give the resources to him, but it was more appropriate for him to leave it to someone else. Young man, take it. You entered the pavilion of heaven and earth for opportunities. This is also an opportunity. The Mount Wuling master said. Kind of. I learned Senior Jun's residual shadow body. It's already an opportunity. Night Sorrow said. You're a good young man. Let's skip the formalities. The Mount Wuling Villa owes you a favor. The Mount Wuling master said. After the matter was settled, Night Sorrow planned to leave. He still had to deal with the Qing Emperor's matter. The Mount Wuling master sent Datura and Night Sorrow to the teleportation formation. Brother Tang, Sister Tang, Night Sorrow still has something to do. I'll visit you another day. After arriving at the Black Yellow City and exiting the teleportation formation, Night Sorrow cupped his hands in front of his chest to Tang Bo and Tang Yi. Speak. Chapter 1327. Unsealed Words. Don't. Why don't you stay for a few more days? Tang Bo was getting anxious. Brother Tang, I'll definitely come when I have time. This time, I've found the elixir and I'm in a hurry to go back and treat Master, Night Sorrow said. In that case, I won't keep you. Just come when you have time, Tang Bo said after hearing Night Sorrow's words. Alright, I'll be waiting for Brother Tang and Senior Sister Tang at the Nine Chong Pagoda, Night Sorrow said to Tang Bo and Tang Yi. Tang Bo and Tang Yi both nodded. They both understood that Night Sorrow was indeed in a hurry. I was going to invite you to the Sea King Palace as a guest, but you have urgent matters to attend to, so I can't keep you. Hai Ling also came. Friends don't last forever. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Hai Ling. Hai Ling nodded. If you need help, you can come to me. After cupping his hands at them again, Night Sorrow and Datura teleported to Samsara City and then to the Nine Chong Pagoda again. Did it work? Datura asked at this time. Yes, we did. This time, we gained a lot. Night Sorrow told Datura about this time's harvest. Heavenly Tao? I've never heard of it, but the origin of the bound of universe won't lie. It should work. Datura was also very happy. For many years, the Dark Abyss and the Qing Emperor's dynasty had been at war. They were rivals, but not enemies. She didn't want the Qing Emperor to fall. Most importantly, Datura knew that Night Sorrow had always blamed himself in his heart. If this problem was not solved, it would always be a knot in his heart. Ah Luo, you've worked hard during this time. Night Sorrow looked at Datura and said. There's no need for such words between us. The situation is stable now, but it's a bit stifling. Now that you're back, you should see how to deal with it. We have to open up the situation. They're too despicable, Datura said. Alright, I plan to go to Seven Night City. Luo, are you coming? Night Sorrow asked. I won't go. Let the Qing Emperor have some peace. He doesn't want others to see him now. He is the Qing Emperor, Datura said. Night Sorrow nodded and sent Datura to the teleportation circle with Summer City, who had discovered his return. Uncle Summer, let's go. Night Sorrow nodded at Summer City and entered the teleportation circle. Your Highness, is it done? Summer City asked excitedly. It's done. Night Sorrow nodded. He was also very happy. After teleporting to Seven Night City, Night Sorrow went to the small lakeside house. In the small lakeside house, Jun Xuanji was making tea while the Qing Emperor and Misty Rain were talking. Seeing Night Sorrow return, the Qing Emperor nodded at Night Sorrow. Misty Rain pulled out a chair beside him and nodded at Summer City. Night Sorrow, sit beside Master's wife. Summer City, you sit too. Master, disciple has gained something this time. Although I didn't obtain the enlightened Tao, I obtained the heavenly Tao, which is more effective than the enlightened Tao. The origin of the profound yellow world said that a leaf is equivalent to the enlightened Tao. It can repair damaged dantian and meridians. Next, Night Sorrow plucked a leaf from the heavenly Tao and handed it to the Qing Emperor. Master, quickly eat it. Otherwise, the spirit Qi will dissipate. Holding the heavenly Tao leaf, the Qing Emperor nodded and swallowed it. After swallowing the heavenly Tao leaf, an indescribable aura appeared on the Qing Emperor's body. Master will go meditate. After nodding at Night Sorrow, the Qing Emperor returned to the small lakeside house. Master's wife, if everything goes well, Master Wuyo's life and his strength will also recover. However, he will still have to endure the poisonous centipede's poison. Night Sorrow said. Your master is not a delicate person. He suffered a lot when he was young, so he cultivated a good temperament. Pain is nothing to him. It's good that he is alive, not to mention recovering his strength. It's been hard on you this time. Misty Rain said as she looked at the pavilion where the Qing Emperor was meditating. Xuanji, give me the latest information later. During this time, they have been jumping around happily. I will deal with them later. Night Sorrow said. Jun Xuanji nodded. She knew Night Sorrow's temper. He would not cause trouble, but if someone provoked him, he would not let it go. After that, Night Sorrow went to the city in the sky and met Father Gu, his parents, wife, and children. After having dinner with his family, he returned to the Nine Chong building. After knowing that Night Sorrow had returned, the morale of the Qing Emperor's dynasty instantly soared. This was because the invincible commander had appeared. The officials and princes all arrived at Night Sorrow's place to report the situation of the association. Qing Lin and Qing Luan also arrived. It's been hard on everyone these days. Night Sorrow said. The officials all shook their heads. Qing Luan said that it was all thanks to Jun Xuanji that they could stabilize the situation. After that, Night Sorrow told everyone to calm down first. He would make arrangements for the following matters. On D6. Everyone left except for Qing Lin and Qing Luan. Sister, why aren't you going back? Qing Lin asked Qing Luan. Brother, why aren't you leaving? Qing Luan asked Qing Lin. After hesitating for a moment, Qing Lin said, I have something to tell junior brother. Don't hide good things. What else is there that I can't hear? Qing Luan replied directly. She had no intention of leaving. Senior brother, please speak your mind. I'll do what I can. Even if I can't, I'll think of a way. Night Sorrow said. I just want to ask you something. Is Xuanji married? Qing Lin asked after hesitating for a moment. Night Sorrow smiled. He understood what Qing Lin was thinking. His answer was to let Qing Lin ask him himself. Qing Lin smiled. Since junior brother said so, I have an answer. I used to have a wife but she didn't enter the king's dynasty. She left after leaving behind 2 children. Now that I have some feelings, I just don't know if it's suitable. I'll have to think about it. Night Sorrow looked at Qing Luan. Senior sister, tell me. Who do you like? Don't provoke those with families. We can't do anything immoral. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Qing Luan slammed the table. What are you talking about? What immoral thing have I done? I just want to ask you. What's the situation in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion? Is it as dirty as you think? Imperial younger sister, you're in the wrong here. Do you think that love between a man and a woman is dirty? Junior brother is right. We can't do anything immoral, Qing Lin said with a smile. I can't be bothered with the two of you. Qing Wan glared at Night Sorrow and Qing Lin before getting up and leaving. Junior brother, your senior sister is not bad. If you want, you can tell father and mother. Qing Lin said with a smile. Senior brother, you can't joke about this. That's my senior sister. Night Sorrow said seriously. Yes, Qing Wan is your senior sister. I remember that both your wives are your senior sisters. You're her killer. Qing Lin said. What are you talking about? I don't want to talk to you anymore. You won't understand. I'm going to find Uncle Xian Daozi to do something. Night Sorrow stood up. Okay. Let me know if you need anything. Qing Lin also stood up. After sending Qing Lin off, Night Sorrow didn't wait for Xian Daozi to find him. Instead, Xian Daozi and Sheng Guanhong came to the 9-layer pavilion. Speak. Chapter 1328. Night Sorrow wanted to find Xian Daozi because of the heavenly Dao divine artifact, the Haotian divine pagoda. Xian Daozi had said before that he would perform a divination for him. In the beginning, it was because Xian Daozi had divined the body of virtue in the 9 regions world, so he couldn't continue. Later, Xian Daozi could, but Night Sorrow brought the pagoda of time and space into the reincarnation palace to cultivate, so he couldn't come out. Night Sorrow planned to use the pagoda of time and space to trouble Xian Daozi to find out where the missing part of the pagoda of time and space was. Night Sorrow brought Xian Daozi and Sheng Guanhong into the main hall of the 9-layer pagoda and poured tea for them. Your Highness, you've been gone for almost 2 years, and we've been very bored. We feel like heroes are useless, Xian Daozi said. When the time comes, just don't say that you're tired, Night Sorrow said. Xian Daozi and Sheng Guanhong shook their heads. They felt that they had no passion and were bored. When Night Sorrow was there, he fought and beat the celestial sect until they ran away like rats. Now, the Qing Emperor's dynasty was very stable, but they were very depressed. After all, they were provoked. Uncle Xian Daozi, I want to ask you for a favor, Night Sorrow said to Xian Daozi. Your Highness is too polite. What is it? Your Highness, please tell me. Xian Daozi's attitude was very righteous. Uncle Xian Daozi, you know how this storm started. I want to know where the missing part of the pagoda of time and space is, Night Sorrow said. Yes, but it will be in 3 days. I'll make some preparations. In 3 days, Your Highness will go to the Qing Emperor's palace. Xian Daozi cupped his hands to Night Sorrow, then left the 9-layer pagoda. Uncle Xia, is this very troublesome? He looked at Summer City and asked. That's right, said Summer City. You need to burn incense, bathe, and calm your mind. Divination is harmful to your own Dao, and many people don't want to learn it. Xian Daozi felt that his potential had been exhausted, which was why he chose to practice divination. Instead, he made some progress. Now, he needs to make some preparations to avoid the wrath of heaven. If I'd known, I wouldn't have said anything. I've caused Uncle Xian Daozi so much trouble. Night Sorrow felt somewhat apologetic. What trouble? He relies on this to make a living. He's a wily old fox. No problem, Sheng Guanhong said. After resting in the 9 grand floors for 3 days, Night Sorrow, Summer City, and Sheng Guanhong went to the Qing Emperor's palace, and then to Xian Daozi's astrology platform. At this moment, Xian Daozi was wearing hemp robes and a bronze crown. Your Highness, it's done. Xian Daozi, seated cross-legged on a prayer mat, nodded to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took out the space-time pagoda and placed it in front of Xian Daozi. After that, Summer City and Sheng Guanhong brought Night Sorrow outside to wait. At this time, Xian Daozi could not be disturbed. Night Sorrow and the others made tea and waited. 4 hours later, Xian Daozi emerged and returned the space-time pagoda to Night Sorrow. Your Highness, the results of the divination are not very clear. There is no specific direction or location. This is the image. Your subordinate will leave the image here. Your Highness, take it. If you see this image, you must pay attention. The space-time pagoda's flaw is here. Xian Daozi took out a crystal ball and handed it to Night Sorrow. Holding the crystal ball, Night Sorrow saw the image inside. Beneath the starry sky was a mountain, and below the mountain was a winding river. Night Sorrow had never seen such a scene before. Thank you for your hard work, Uncle Xian Daozi. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Xian Daozi. A heavenly Tao divine artifact is not easy to divine. The interference is too great and I am unable to complete the details. This is the best I can do. There was an apologetic look on Xian Daozi's face. Uncle Xian Daozi, you are too polite. Thank you for your hard work, Night Sorrow said. It's nothing. Just a few days of rest. Additionally, you cannot divine for the next 3 years because even divination is not effective, Xian Daozi said. After that, Night Sorrow brought Xian Daozi and the others to a restaurant for a meal. Xian Daozi went to rest while Night Sorrow returned to 9-layered building. After that, Night Sorrow and Summer City teleported to 7 Night City. Night Sorrow and Summer City were both worried about Qing Emperor's situation. When they arrived at the lakeside building in 7 Night City, Night Sorrow saw Misty Rain pacing back and forth with his hands behind his back. Master's wife, Master hasn't come out of seclusion yet? Night Sorrow asked. No, he has been meditating. However, there are energy fluctuations coming from his body. That is a good thing, Misty Rain said. Master's wife, there is no need to worry. The essence of a great world would not lie. If he says there is no problem, then there is no problem, Night Sorrow said. Although he was a little anxious, he still believed in the effects of the heavenly Tao. Misty Rain nodded. She knew how much Night Sorrow had spent on Qing Emperor's matter. Half a month later, Qing Emperor came out of seclusion. After coming out, Qing Emperor punched the air, causing an energy vortex to churn in the air. I have 30% of my cultivation. Qing Emperor said, looking at his fist. How can it be 30%? Master, your dantian and meridians have not been repaired yet? Night Sorrow asked. They have been repaired. The damage in my body has also been repaired. However, my dantian was destroyed by the puppet's destructive energy. My dantian and meridians have been repaired, but it will take time to cultivate the energy back. Now that I have recovered 30%, it is already very good. Give me some time, and I will be able to fully recover my cultivation. Qing Emperor was very satisfied with the current results. Master, with your cultivation, you can suppress the evil venomous centipede. Night Sorrow was very happy to hear Qing Emperor's words. Although the evil venomous centipede has not been solved, it can be suppressed. There will be no problems in the future. Don't worry. Give me some time, and all the troubles will be no trouble. Qing Emperor was also very happy to feel that his dantian and meridians were fine. There is more. Master, this is the elixir I refined. Night Sorrow took out the Thunder Pattern Soft Jade Tendon Elixir. Thunder Pattern Soft Jade Tendon Elixir. What kind of elixir is this? Qing Emperor asked in surprise when he saw the elixir that Night Sorrow took out. Soft Jade Tendon Elixir. It is an elixir that strengthens the meridians. Night Sorrow explained the effect of the Soft Jade Tendon Elixir. Good. Master will accept it. Qing Emperor nodded with a smile. Master's wife, I don't have any good gifts for you. Here are 3 drops of Soul Cultivation Elixir. Night Sorrow took out a small bottle and handed it to Misty Rain. Haha. Master's wife appreciates your kindness. In the past, your master obtained a drop of Soul Cultivation Elixir. Master's wife and a few people in Summer City have used it. You can keep it. Misty Rain said. Master's wife, please accept this thunder-patterned soft jade tendon elixir. Night Sorrow took out a thunder-patterned soft jade tendon elixir. After thinking for a while, Misty Rain accepted it. However, when Night Sorrow gave it to Summer City and Shengguanhong rejected it. They only wanted ordinary elixirs. They didn't want the thunder-patterned soft jade tendon elixir. Night Sorrow had no choice but to take out 2 ordinary elixirs. Unique %V original/version Q**, it's his. They were all pirated. Master, do you know how many Heaven Master level puppets the Celestial Sect has? Night Sorrow asked. The second update has arrived. There will be an explosion of 10 updates today. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your unblocking yesterday. Chapter 1329. Unsealed? Not many. Last time, I destroyed one. Of the ones they took out, there are only 3 left, the Qing Emperor said. A few days ago, when I came out of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, the Celestial Sect sent a giant puppet to kill me. However, it was killed by Datura. The elder died, and the puppet was taken away by Datura, Night Sorrow said. Good. Their strength has been greatly reduced, so they will be more obedient. However, Night Sorrow, you have to remember to not suppress them too much. If they feel that they are about to be destroyed, they will use that skeleton. We might not be able to withstand it, the Qing Emperor said. Master, we can't always be bullied by them because of this. Night Sorrow rubbed his forehead. Night Sorrow, things are relative. They shouldn't provoke us too much. If they do, then we have nothing to worry about. The Qing Emperor nodded to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He didn't care how powerful the other party's trump cards were. As long as they wanted to fight, he would accompany them to the end. Night Sorrow, what are you thinking about? Misty Rain looked at Night Sorrow, who was deep in thought, and asked. Master's wife, we don't have to worry too much. The 9 regions world where I came from will be a supreme world in the future. If the situation is bad, the Qing Emperor's dynasty will develop in the 9 regions world. Without my permission, the king can't enter the 9 regions world. So what if he has trump cards? I can stabilize the rear and then fight to the death with him, Night Sorrow said. Haha. You are right. We have a place to retreat, so we can fight however we want. However, after they use up their trump cards, it will be the end of the Celestial Sect. Alright, you can arrange things as you see fit. Now, we should return to the Qing Emperor's dynasty. I am not dead, so the Celestial Sect's momentum will fall. Qing Emperor made his decision. He wanted to recover his cultivation now. The Azure Sky Pavilion had 5 times the time acceleration, which was more convenient than in the 7-night city. Yes, it's time to go back. It's also time to show our faces and let the Celestial Sect know that their plan has failed. Misty Rain nodded. Night Sorrow didn't object. Then, they returned to the Qing Emperor's palace. Qing Emperor didn't keep a low profile when he showed up. Many people knew about it. The Qing Emperor had ruled the Qing Emperor's dynasty for many years. He was the faith of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. The appearance of the Qing Emperor excited everyone. The Qing Emperor's empire had 3 Heaven Masters. The Qing Emperor and Zhan Tan were both extremely powerful Heaven Masters. After meeting with the officials in the Qing Emperor's palace, the Qing Emperor announced that Night Sorrow would be in charge of the Qing Emperor's dynasty from now on. Master, it's no secret that I'm the World Lord. In the 9 regions world, it's my world. I feel that the Qing Emperor's dynasty can develop a base in the 9 regions world. Night Sorrow looked at the Qing Emperor and said. You're right. You're the World Lord. The 9 regions world is the safest place. Qing Shan, you'll be in charge of this matter. Remember, you can't disturb the 9 regions world. You're just building it up. Don't allow the cultivators of the Qing Emperor's dynasty to find opportunities and train in the Nine Regions world. The Qing Emperor said. He knew that the Nine Regions world had just become a high-grade world. It was still developing into a great world. If people messed around, it would prolong its evolution. Father, I'll take care of it. But what's the scale? Qing Shan bowed and asked. Large scale. As long as the dynasty's resources can support it, the scale should be larger. It can't exceed the situation of the Nine Regions world's main city, Clear Sky City. The bigger, the better. Azure Emperor said after thinking for a moment. He knew the situation of the Nine Domain world. Yishang had a sovereign source, which meant that in the future, the Nine Domain world would be the Nine Domain Great Worlds. It would be a prosperous place, so there would be no restrictions if they built it on a larger scale. Qing Shan was stunned. He didn't know why the Qing Emperor valued it so much. But since the Qing Emperor said so, he could only do as he was told. Night Sorrow, I'm going into seclusion. Your senior brother is also in seclusion. I'll leave the Qing Emperor's dynasty to you. But there are some things that don't need to be rushed. The Qing Emperor reminded Night Sorrow. Look at #original chapter. After the officials left, Night Sorrow was called to the Azure Sky Pavilion by the Qing Emperor. The Qing Emperor's dynasty is a struggle between forces. It's the situation. The improvement of your own strength is also very important. It's your personal achievement. You can't slack off. In addition, this is the formation I've studied in the past 2 years. It's my highest achievement in the formation these years. It's called the Nine Serenities Slaughtering Divine Dragon Tiger Formation. The Qing Emperor gave Night Sorrow a formation map. Thank you, Master. I plan to continue my seclusion and cultivate. My doppelganger will deal with some things, Night Sorrow said. Okay, you can do as you see fit. The Qing Emperor actually had the same idea. He hoped that his disciple would have achievements in both the management of forces and his own strength. The Qing Emperor went into seclusion. Night Sorrow went out of the Azure Sky Pavilion. Night Sorrow, you plan to go to the Samsara Palace. I'll send you there, Misty Rain said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that this was the elder's kind intention. He left enough resources for his own body and gave the rest to his doppelganger. Then he went to the Samsara city with the ice dragon's blood essence and elixirs and entered the Samsara Palace with Misty Rain. The origin of the Samsara Palace asked Night Sorrow about his trip to the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. Night Sorrow told it everything. For the sake of your master, you have no other choice. In fact, I have the same idea as him. We are both looking for a way out for ourselves. You can get the resources to heal your master's injuries. It can be considered as resolving a knot in your heart. Work hard from now on, said the origin of Samsara Palace after hearing Yishang's words. Night Sorrow's own body entered the pagoda of time and space to cultivate. This trip to the Heaven and Earth Pavilion was the biggest gain of the Way of Heaven, but Night Sorrow's state of mind and soul had also improved a lot. After sending Night Sorrow's own body to the Samsara Palace, Misty Rain went to the Juchong building again. Mistress, this is the Thunder Pattern Soft Jade Tendon Elixir. Take it. These are for your other senior brothers and sisters. Night Sorrow took out 6 ordinary soft jade tendon elixirs. In fact, the princes who had not been conferred the title of Highness were not Night Sorrow's senior brothers. Night Sorrow just called them that. Then I'll take them. Everyone wants their children to be successful. This is the heart of a parent, Misty Rain said. Mistress, I don't have the ability to obtain the white tiger blood at the moment. It will take some time, Night Sorrow said. Your master is the Azure the Arch. His life is not in danger, and his cultivation can still be recovered. The evil dragon poison centipede won't be able to do anything to him. You don't have to worry. Just focus on your cultivation first, said Heavenly Lord Yufei. Then, Night Sorrow began to refine elixirs. He wanted to refine a batch of resources for the members of the God-slaying team, including the soft jade tendon elixir. After half a month, Night Sorrow finished refining the elixirs. However, guests from the Juchong building also came to the Juchong building. They were guests from the Xuanhuan Great World. Junhua came first, followed by Hai Ling. They all felt that they owed Night Sorrow a favor. Night Sorrow received the two of them at the Juchong building. Junhua, how is your aunt? Night Sorrow asked. Very good. She's currently a blacksmith. My uncle hopes that my aunt will have a handy weapon, Junhua said. Tell me. Chapter 1330. Unseal. Find someone to refine weapons. What kind of weapons? Yi Shan asked. A weapon with thunder property. The highest level of craftsman in Wuling Villa is a mid-level Heaven Master craftsman. That's not enough. My aunt wants us to make a high-level king weapon so that we can live up to my uncle's efforts, Junhua said. Your Highness, why don't you make it for us? Lan Ning said. She and Hong Yi used to call him Young Master Night Sorrow, but now they called him Your Highness. Brother Yi, can you make high-level king weapons? Junhua looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. I can, but I'm worried that I won't ask my aunt for help, Night Sorrow said. Okay, wait here. I'll go back and tell my aunt. I already owe you a favor anyway, Junhua stood up and said. After Yi Shang sent Junhua away, he spoke to Hai Ling. I'm very grateful for this trip to Heaven and Earth Pavilion. You really helped me a lot, Hai Ling said. Actually, it's nothing. Even if we didn't meet or team up, you'll just have fewer resources, Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's not like that. Other resources are resources, but the rootless grass is not a resource for me. It's my future. Because of congenital reasons, my veins are narrower. It's fine in the early stage, but when I reach the level of 8-star king, the drawbacks appear. I can't support the flow of energy. Before I entered Heaven and Earth Pavilion, I was at the peak of 8-star king level. The energy I could use was only at the mid-level of 8-star king level. If I didn't solve it, no matter how much I improved, the energy in my body wouldn't be able to improve. Now that this drawback has been solved, I'm very grateful to you, Hai Ling said. It's really nothing. Since you can come here, then we're friends. Since we're friends, then let's be polite. Then I won't bother with the pleasantries. Red Robe, tell Chief Steward He to prepare a banquet and entertain the guests tonight, said Yi Shang. Alright, then I won't be courteous with you. Also, I know that you're a heavenly master alchemist. Are you also a heavenly master craftsman? Hai Ling looked at Night Sorrow with doubt in her eyes. This was because she had personally witnessed Night Sorrow concocting pills, and it was even a Thunder Mark level pill. Now that Night Sorrow had told Junhua that he could refine high-level king equipment, she was rather shocked. I've dabbled a little, but I'm still self-sufficient, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Amazing. This is a gift from my grandfather after he used the soft jade tendon pill. Hai Ling took out a storage ring. Pee up, Hailing, this isn't appropriate. We were teammates at that time, and I naturally did what I could for my teammates. So, there's no need to thank me. You still need to give me a thank you gift, Night Sorrow refused. You gave me a pill and fulfilled your promise. You saved me and fulfilled your friendship as a teammate, so it's only right to thank me. Hai Ling didn't take back the storage ring. If you treat me as a friend, then take it back. You really don't have to do this, Night Sorrow said. Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't accept it, Hai Ling was helpless. She knew that Night Sorrow knew that this thank you gift wouldn't be light, but there was nothing she could do if he didn't accept it. Since we're friends, then there's nothing messy. I'll take you around later, Night Sorrow said. While they were talking, Junhua brought Jun Yunan's wife to the Nine Chong building. Her surname was Wen, and her name was Wen Yu. Night Sorrow, you can refine weapons? Wen Yu sat down and asked. Junhua, how should I address you? Night Sorrow looked at Junhua. I don't know either. Qing Emperor and my master are of the same generation. You and my aunt are of the same generation, but what about me? You'll be at a disadvantage if you call me aunt, Junhua said. Then I'll call you aunt. Aunt, tell me your requirements and draw a blueprint. I'll see if it works. If it works, I'll help you refine it. If it doesn't work, then I'll have to ask a heavenly master to refine it, Night Sorrow said. At the same time, Hong Yi brought over a pen and paper. When you nodded and drew the blueprint. My requirements aren't high. I'm a cultivator of the lightning attribute. You can see how you can refine it. I won't mind if others refine it, but you can refine it however you want because you helped complete my late husband's dying wish, when you said. Then please wait, Auntie. I'll see how I can refine it. Night Sorrow said. He had studied the 9 hell slaughtering god formation some time ago. There were lightning attribute formations in it, but he wanted to see which one was most suitable. Night Sorrow asked again and found out that Wen Yu's main attribute was black demon lightning and her secondary attribute was wind. Night Sorrow studied lightning attribute formations in the time-space treasure pagoda for 20 days. He felt that engraving the 9-9 wind and thunder formation in the weapon he was going to refine for Wen Yu. The 9-9 wind and thunder formation was a compound formation. It used the lightning attribute as the core and the wind attribute as the support. When he felt that it was enough, Night Sorrow started refining in the small martial arts arena of the 9 grand floors. The materials were naturally Wen Yu. The main material was thunder core iron. Night Sorrow had many experiences in refining high-grade king-tier weapons. Refining a high-grade king-tier long sword was not difficult at all. However, there were many people watching. After 3 days, Night Sorrow finished refining the sword. He then took out the teeth of the wind-fire dragon and made the gloves. They were wind attribute gloves. After asking Wen Yu for her blood essence, Night Sorrow quenched the weapon and combined the blood essence with the weapon. The weapon was completed. The white jade-like gloves were made from dragon teeth. The purple crystal-like sword body was made from thunder core iron. Auntie, take a look. If there's anything you're not satisfied with, I can modify it. Night Sorrow handed the long sword to Wen Yu with both hands. After receiving the long sword, Wen Yu immediately connected with the long sword. She knew that this was a high-grade king-tier long sword. It was mainly lightning attribute with the wind attribute as the support. Wen Yu tried waving it twice. Immediately, the long sword was filled with lightning snakes. It's too perfect. I never thought that I could forge such a long sword. It's too suitable for me. Wen Yu was a little excited. This weapon was a form of sustenance for her. Of course, the higher the level and the more suitable it was for her, the better. The weapon refined by Night Sorrow satisfied these 2 points. Night Sorrow, what did you add to make the sword hilt? Junhua asked. That's a wind-fire dragon's tooth. It's a king-tier weapon. It won't disgrace this weapon. Auntie, because you have the wind attribute, I added it without permission. I think it's very suitable. Night Sorrow said. You're helping me refine the weapon and you're even providing the materials. How can that be? After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Wen Yu knew that it was a little inappropriate. Jun Yunan didn't take the Night Sorrow left behind by Night Sorrow. Now that he was providing the materials to refine the weapon, it didn't make sense. Auntie, it's nothing. Let's not talk about Senior Junhua and I are friends. Night Sorrow said. These are 2 different things. Night Sorrow, you're generous and have principles. But I'm also a person with principles. Wen Yu shook her head. Speak. Chapter 1331. What was Wen Yu's background? Her father was a tycoon, and she was the young master of Wuling Villa. How could she take advantage of Night Sorrow? She took out 2 stones. This is the destruction stone. It can be used to refine weapons and set up formations. Take it and study it, but don't hurt yourself. When you took out 2 stones, but they were wrapped in energy because the destructive energy would hurt others and oneself. Auntie, I really don't need this. Night Sorrow said and shook his head. Night Sorrow, take it. My auntie is an elder. How could she take advantage of you? That thing is good. My master has it. I've been eyeing it for a long time, but I didn't get it. Junhua said with a smile. You can't refuse an elder's gift. It's not appropriate for you not to accept it. She will always feel that she owes you. Sometimes, letting others feel at ease is also a good deed. Misty Rain said. Night Sorrow nodded and accepted it because Misty Rain was right. He didn't think it through. Thank you, Misty Rain. When you bowed to Misty Rain. She knew that women understood women the best. Night Sorrow was kind, but he didn't understand her thoughts. You're welcome. Come often in the future. Misty Rain nodded with a smile. When you nodded. She stayed in the 9-story tower for 2 days and felt that the atmosphere here was very good. It was full of vitality. Even the Tycoon Yufei monarch was talking and laughing here. Summer City and Shangguanhong were the same. Many people put on airs when they reached the senior king level in order to accumulate power, let alone the monarch and tycoon. But it was not like this in the 9-story tower. I'm sorry that I didn't treat everyone well these few days because I was studying formations. Night Sorrow said. It's okay. You don't have to be so polite. Brother Yi, why didn't I see your family? Didn't you see your sisters? Hai Ling asked. She was referring to Night Sorrow's wife. The world of samsara is too chaotic these days. Several forces are fighting with the Qing Emperor's dynasty. I was worried about the danger, so I didn't let them come. Night Sorrow said. If you need support, just say the word. I'll talk to Lord Father and see if we can form an alliance. Although we are not in the same great world, having an ally in the other side's great world is not bad, when you said. Thank you for your kindness, Auntie. We're fine now, but we're still in the limelight, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, I've always wanted to ask you something. I don't think it's appropriate to ask, but I won't ask. His heart itched. Have you made it to the end of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion? Junhua asked. I'm also very concerned about this topic, but I'm too embarrassed to ask. I'm afraid it's inappropriate, Hai Ling said with a smile. I've made it to the end. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion has a total of 33 levels. However, the later levels are indeed very difficult. Didn't I make it to the end? It's indeed very dangerous. If I'm not careful, I'll be doomed eternally. Night Sorrow nodded. He couldn't lie to his friends. Then what heavenly artifact did you get? Junhua asked excitedly. You know that I didn't go there for the heavenly artifact. Also, I'm only allowed to make one request in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. If I pass the test, I'll be able to fulfill it, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, you gave up the heavenly artifact for the Tao? Misty Rain looked at Night Sorrow in shock. Nothing is more important than Master's health, Night Sorrow said. But your Master has other opportunities, and the opportunity to obtain a heavenly Tao artifact is very rare. It's almost non-existent. Heavenly Monarch Yufei's heart was touched because Yi Shang had sacrificed a lot. Mistress, you're thinking too much. It's nothing. On the 33rd level, under the control of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion's artifact spirit, I fell into an environment and experienced 100 lifetimes. I understood my shortcomings and flaws in life, and my mental state and soul were perfected. This is the greatest gain, Night Sorrow said with a smile. He was indeed very satisfied with the tempering of his mental state and soul during this trip to the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. What's going on with 100 lifetimes? Junhua asked because he had never heard of it. The origin of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion said that if one's mental state is lacking, one will be immersed in it and never wake up. There is only 100 lifetimes to wake up and comprehend. I was lucky. During my 100th lifetime, I understood what I wanted and what I had to do, Night Sorrow said. Forever. Free look, small, equals speak. Night Sorrow did not mention some details. The origin of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion had said that it was not good to comprehend in advance. One would not be able to understand the true meaning of life. Only by comprehending 99 lifetimes and 100 lifetimes would one be perfect. 9 by 9 lifetimes and 100 lifetimes were in line with the truth of 9 by 9 lifetimes. This has nothing to do with strength. It can't be controlled. Junhua said. Yes, it's a test of human nature. It's also a test of luck. Night Sorrow said. The 33rd level. I only reached the 10th level and almost lost my life. You reached the 33rd level. The difference is really immeasurable, Junhua said with some emotion. Night Sorrow, if you go again in 3 million years and ask for the heavenly artifact, you'll make a fortune, Hai Ling said excitedly. I don't plan to go again. I got what I wanted in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. I'm satisfied and satisfied. It's better to leave those for the future, Night Sorrow said with a smile. In terms of cultivation level and temperament, you far surpass other youngsters. When you admired Yi Shang very much, because no one else would have such a temperament. Then, a banquet was held in the Nine Chong building. Misty Rain also attended. After all, Hai Ling and Wen Yu were the descendants of Heaven Pillar. Misty Rain was considered an elder and should receive them. After staying for 2 days, Hai Ling, Junhua, and Wen Yu said that they wanted to go out for a walk. Night Sorrow could do his own things. Night Sorrow reminded them not to go to the Celestial Sect, Burning Heaven Tower, and Black Fiend Valley. Those were the opponents of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. The other places did not matter. After the guests left, Night Sorrow said goodbye to Misty Rain and returned to the city in the sky. The harvest this time was huge. Night Sorrow naturally gave some resources to his wife and parents. Then, he stayed with his family for a while. He also told Long Xianxing and Xia Lanjun, who were in charge of the 9 regions world, that the Qing Emperor's dynasty was going to build a city. This is a good thing for our 9 regions world. For the 9 regions world to develop into a large world, there must be foreign cultivators. Only by interacting with each other can we improve. Long Xianxing said. He was more willing to see such a situation. Xia Lanjun was also supportive. They knew that as long as Night Sorrow was around, the 9 regions world would not collapse. It would stand tall between the heavens and earth. You guys should go out for a walk too. You're already at the peak of the Saint King realm. If you work harder, you'll be a king. Only a king can be eternal. Night Sorrow said to Long Xianxing and Xia Lanjun. He also hoped that the people of the 9 regions world could achieve something. He worked hard for his family and the stability of the 9 regions world. Chapter 1332. Night Sorrow then went to Heaven Tiger Pass to give the God-slaying team a batch of resources, including soft jade tendon pills, before returning to Nine Chong Pavilion. Everything at home is settled. You must have brought back a lot of resources from 9 Domain World, Misty Rain said with a smile. She knew Night Sorrow very well. It can't be helped. 9 Domain World's foundation is low, so we have to work hard. After a while, some people will grow up, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Night Sorrow then asked Misty Rain where he could get a treasure that could accelerate time. He had used the Pagoda of Time. Now that there were no treasures that could accelerate cultivation in Sky City, many people could only use their lives to cultivate, which was a bit of a waste of time. The auction house that's going to Samsara City should have treasures that can accelerate time by 5 times. If it's 6 times or 10 times, the price will be outrageous. Many of them will barter with other items and won't charge Saint Spirit stones, said Heavenly Monarch Yufei. Disciple plans to create a floating city in the 9 regions world and let them do as they please. That way, I'll be at ease, Night Sorrow said. It's the fortune of your family to have a family like you. It's the fortune of the cultivators of 9 Domain World to have a realm lord like you. It's also a blessing for your master to have a disciple like you. Misty Rain was a bit emotional because Night Sorrow had a magnanimity that others didn't have. I'm going to buy some things on the way. Master's wife, come with me. I don't know what the materials are and what the price is, Night Sorrow said. Sure. I'll go with you. Misty Rain nodded with a smile. Night Sorrow sorted out the materials and went to the biggest auction house in Samsara City. This was the business of Samsara City and was jointly managed by many elders. The commission collected was also used for the daily maintenance of Samsara City. The only authentic one? Everyone was a pirated one. The current city lord of Samsara City was nicknamed Heavenly Lord of Thunderfire. He was a recognized expert. He didn't belong to any sect or family. He only had a few sons who didn't call themselves kings. Therefore, he had been the city lord for many years. Qing Emperor was one of the elders of Samsara City. Misty Rain brought Night Sorrow into the auction house and someone came to receive them. I want to see Director Meng, Misty Rain said. The receptionist was stunned for a moment before she went to report. She knew that the person who had come was a big shot. She was a 6-star sovereign king, and she could not see through his cultivation. That meant that he was a heaven pillar giant. Furthermore, Steward Meng did not easily receive people. Not everyone knew about this person. After a while, an elder appeared. Misty Rain is here. What a rare guest. Other than the supplies for Samsara City, the auction house also has some income. Qing Emperor's dynasty didn't come to collect it. Since Misty Rain is here, I'll go and settle the accounts. The elder was very polite. He was a monarch and had to keep a low profile in front of a big shot. Besides, Qing Emperor's dynasty was very prestigious in the world of Samsara. You're too polite, Director Meng. I'm not here for that. I'm here to do some business with my disciple, Misty Rain said. The Qing Emperor's disciple was his disciple. Are you Qing Emperor's disciple? Director Meng looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow greets Director Meng. Night Sorrow saluted Director Meng. You're too polite. I know the name of the invincible commander, His Highness Yi Shang. Is Your Highness Yi Shang interested in bidding for something? Manager Meng asked. It's not an auction. I want to barter with a magic treasure that can accelerate time. The more, the better. Night Sorrow told him his purpose. It's hard to find a magic treasure that can accelerate time. Monarchs with less than 5 times can refine it. Only a big shot can refine one with 5 times the time, and the materials are hard to find. Magic treasures with more than 5 times the time may be innate treasures, found in other worlds, or left by predecessors, Elder Meng said. Then I'll take out something first. Elder Meng can estimate the difference in value, Night Sorrow said. Then, Night Sorrow asked Elder Meng to find a spacious place. Night Sorrow took out the fiery dragon's body. Although the dragon's skin is damaged, the dragon tendons and dragon bones are intact. Elder Meng, can you estimate the value? A monarch-level fiery wind dragon. It's rare that the bones are intact. Most of the dragon skin can be used and the dragon tendons are intact. Your Highness, are the dragon gallbladder and dragon pearl here? Director Meng asked. Apart from the essence blood and heart blood, I'm not selling the fiery wind dragon. Everything else is here. However, I'm not selling. I'm bartering, Night Sorrow said. Enough. The fiery wind dragon's dragon bones, dragon tendons, and dragon skin can be exchanged for a magic treasure that can accelerate time by 5 times. However, the dragon gallbladder and dragon pearl will be more powerful. Of course, if anyone wants to trade, they'll have to complement each other in terms of value, Director Meng said. Elixirs. I'll bid for some other elixirs. I'll only trade for life spirit fluid or supreme-grade alchemy materials, Night Sorrow said. Then, Night Sorrow took out the glazed golden pill, Yun's spirit pill, and 2 longevity limitless elixirs that he had refined. Alright, these are all supreme-grade elixirs. The auction will start in 2 months. Misty Rain and Your Highness can come. Some cultivators will negotiate with us in the past. We'll only take 1/10 of the commission, Elder Meng said. All right. I'll also trade this for materials. Night Sorrow took out the two-headed Icefire WYRM skeleton. Apart from the Icefire WYRM's core, everything else was intact. It's a monarch-level beast skeleton. Not bad. It's worth a lot. Elder Meng's face was full of excitement because supreme-grade materials were hard to come by. I don't want Holy Spirit stones. I'm just bartering, Night Sorrow emphasized again. He had no shortage of Holy Spirit stones at the moment. Director Meng nodded. He naturally understood that Holy Spirit stones were no longer needed at a certain level. Night Sorrow and Misty Rain didn't stay any longer and left directly. They left the items behind. The reincarnation auction company had a good reputation. Besides, Night Sorrow was the highness of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. No one dared to take advantage of the Qing Emperor's resources. It would be a slap in the face, and the result would be a battle. No one didn't believe in the guts of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. No one dared to touch the celestial sect. The Qing Emperor still killed Zhang Taiyang, who sought refuge. This was courage and guts. Whoever provoked him wouldn't be easily dealt with. After Night Sorrow and Misty Rain left, Director Meng arrived at the City Lord's mansion. He had to report this matter to the City Lord. He was actually a follower of the Heavenly Lord of Thunder Fire. The items that Night Sorrow took out were all very good. He naturally had to ask the Heavenly Lord of Thunder Fire if he needed them. Many things would affect the balance, personal development, and the development of forces. Supreme-grade materials were hard to come by. If he missed it, he would miss it. Director Meng was the director of the auction company. He was also a channel for the Heavenly Lord of Thunder Fire to collect supreme-grade materials. Chapter 1333. Samsara City was the #1 city in the world of Samsara. The City Lord's mansion was naturally extravagant, covering thousands of square miles. In a small courtyard in the wild garden of the City Lord's mansion, Manager Meng met the Heaven Lord of Thunder Fire. The Heaven Lord of Thunder Fire was in a red robe. His hair was red, and his eyebrows were also red. His eyes were full of flames. What's the matter? Is there anything good in the auction house? The Heaven Lord of Thunder Fire asked Manager Meng. The skeleton of a monarch-level wind fire dragon, except for its blood, everything else is here. A monarch-level two-headed ice fire dragon, except for its ice fire dragon core, everything else is here. In addition, there are also soft jade tendons and bones elixirs that can strengthen a cultivator's dantian and tendons, yun spirit elixir that can increase a cultivator's aptitude, and longevity limitless elixir that can increase a cultivator's lifespan, Manager Meng reported. Every one of them is a treasure. Who sent them? Did you follow them? The Heaven Lord of Thunder Fire stood up because the situation had attracted his attention. No. It's Misty Rain from the Qing Emperor's dynasty. The person who took out the goods is Prince Night Sorrow from the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Manager Meng said. He already knew that they were from the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Even if he didn't know, he wouldn't dare to follow them. The dignity of a Sky Master couldn't be blasphemed. If he was found, he would be killed in vain, even if he was the servant of the Heaven Lord of Thunder Fire. First of all, the Qing Emperor's dynasty wasn't afraid of the Heaven Lord of Thunder Fire. Even in terms of strength, the Heaven Lord of Thunder Fire was not good enough. Besides, it was disrespectful to follow and investigate a Sky Master. The Qing Emperor's dynasty. The Qing Emperor's dynasty is not to be trifled with. Qing Shangjuan, who was severely injured, has shown up again. Although he is not in good condition, it is true that his cultivation has recovered. Sandalwood has entered the Sky Master realm, and her strength is far beyond ordinary Sky Masters. In addition, Misty Rain has returned. You just do things according to the rules. Did they say the minimum price? The Heaven Lord of Thunder Fire asked Manager Meng after muttering to himself. There's no minimum price. They don't want Saint Spirit stones. They're only bartering. They want spatial treasures that can accelerate time, as well as treasures of equal value, Chief Steward Meng said. Let's not talk about anything else. We have to get our hands on the Yun Spirit Pill and the corpse of the Wind Fire Dragon. I have a spatial acceleration magic treasure, but only one. The Heavenly Monarch of Thunder Fire said. In the past, he had the Thunder attribute as his main attribute and the Fire attribute as his secondary attribute. Later on, he comprehended the branch of the Void attribute from the Thunder Fire Beast. Now, the Heavenly Monarch of Thunder Fire Dragon had the Wind and Fire attributes, which he desperately needed. Heavenly Monarch, we can ask for more spatial Dharma treasures, but this Wind Fire Dragon skeleton is not easy to get. If we miss it, it will be gone, Manager Meng said. I have to get my hands on it. However, I need to think about how to deal with it. It's impossible to sell it at the lowest price without advertising it. Inform the Dark World to wait for me at the Qianshan Mountains in the north of the city. If he comes forward to exchange for it, I don't think the others will compete with the Dark World. After thinking for a while, the Heavenly Monarch of Thunder Fire said. The Dark World he mentioned was also a giant and was his junior brother. The Dark World Lord of Heaven was very famous in the world of reincarnation. He was proficient in assassination and was a killer who walked in the dark. If he wanted to kill someone, it would be hard for them to escape. He once chased Li Tianhu from the Black Fiend Valley until he had nowhere to go. He even dared not to leave the Black Fiend Valley. It was Li Tianba who solved the problem. All the cultivators knew how powerful the Dark World Lord of Heaven was, but they didn't know that he was the Heavenly Monarch of Thunder Fire's junior brother. When they were young, they had a pair of awe-inspiring nicknames. The Dark World Lord of Heaven's nickname was Rampage, while the Heavenly Monarch of Thunder Fire's nickname was Domineering. The Dark World Lord of Heaven was really Rampage because no one was willing to provoke the Dark World Lord of Heaven. The Heavenly Monarch of Thunder Fire intended to let the Dark World Lord of Heaven bid for the Wind Fire Dragon skeleton and elixir. With the Dark World Lord of Heaven's reputation, no one would bid for it. Steward Meng nodded and went to inform the Dark World. He knew where the Dark World was. When the Heavenly Monarch of Thunder Fire communicated with the Dark World Lord of Heaven, Steward Meng was in the middle. After receiving the message, the Dark World Lord of Heaven came to the Thousand Mountains in the north of the Reincarnation City. That was the place where he would meet the Heavenly Monarch of Thunder Fire. The Heavenly Monarch of Thunder Fire brought along a spatial treasure that could increase his speed by 7 times. On the latest chapter, Junior Brother, you are a Dark World Lord of Death attribute, but your secondary attribute is Wind. The Wind Fire Dragon skeleton contains the Wind Fire attribute and is very suitable for us. Therefore, we have to get it. The Heavenly Monarch of Thunder Fire said. The Dark World Lord of Heaven nodded after receiving the spatial treasure brought by the Heavenly Monarch of Thunder Fire. He knew what to do. Night Sorrow and Misty Rain returned to the Nine Chong Pagoda. Mistress, will the auction house reach an agreement with the client and cheat the owner? Night Sorrow was still a little worried. Of course not. No, Master's wife is going with you to tell others about your status in the Azure the Arch-Empire. Moreover, the price is low. You don't have to make the exchange. The initiative is still in your hands. It's not like you can't get a spatial treasure. When your master recovers to his peak state, he can make one as long as he has the materials. It's just that he lacks the materials, Heavenly Monarch Yufei said. Night Sorrow nodded. He needed a spatial treasure to increase his speed, but he wouldn't admit that he was being cheated. The skeletons of demonic beasts above the rank were very rare. The Big Dipper city had auctioned the Silver Dragon's bone and Silver Dragon's blood before, but their levels were relatively low. The difference between each level was several times greater. The Wind Fire Dragon and the Two-Headed Ice Fire Dragon were both monarch-level demonic beasts. Their prices were extremely high. Night Sorrow also went into seclusion. He was going to take the soft jade muscle elixir to strengthen his dantian and meridians. No matter how strong his body was, taking the soft jade muscle elixir was still very effective. Night Sorrow never gave up on refining his body. No matter how difficult it was the ability to fight above his level. The universal Tao tome created by the human sovereign was at the undying realm. There was one more level after that, which was the rebirth realm. There are some mistakes in the first few chapters. Yi Shang knew that the human emperor of the past was a powerhouse. He himself was not a rank 9 cultivator, so the rebirth realm most likely corresponded to a powerhouse. As for the blank page, it was because the human emperor had not reached that realm. It wasn't difficult to refine the soft jade muscle elixir. In fact, it was a process to strengthen the body and meridians. Night Sorrow didn't only take the Thunder Pattern's soft jade muscle elixir for his doppelganger. His original body also took the elixir in the Samsara Palace. He started to cultivate and comprehend the will of heaven and earth. It took Night Sorrow 7 days to refine the soft jade muscle elixir and strengthen his dantian and meridians. The effect was very obvious. Night Sorrow's body contained extremely strong energy, but there was still room for improvement. Night Sorrow was very happy to feel that his body's strength and toughness had improved a lot. Night Sorrow was looking forward to the improvement of his original body's level. As long as he entered the Star King realm, he would be invincible. Night Sorrow was confident that he could compete with any monarch. It was time to find the white tiger blood. In addition, he had to deal with the incomplete space-time treasure pagoda. To do this, he needed strength. Now that he was at the peak of the 7-star king realm, he was an expert. However, he was still 2 levels away from a monarch. Chapter 1334. Although Yi Shang had the strength of a monarch, his cultivation was still lacking. This was because his foundation was not strong enough. When Night Sorrow came out of seclusion, Misty Rain was teaching Qing Luan sword techniques. Night Sorrow, are you interested in learning the floating rain sword technique? But it's a bit feminine and doesn't suit your style. Misty Rain looked at Night Sorrow and said. Master's wife, I'm just practicing. I won't learn the sword technique, Night Sorrow said with a smile. What you've learned now is enough. Just keep improving and you'll be able to survive, Misty Rain said with a smile. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He knew that Misty Rain wasn't hiding anything. What she said was reasonable. Qing Luan also stopped cultivating. Junior brother, did you know? My brother was defeated. He went to find Jun Xuanji but was rejected. She said that she didn't want to think about this for now. She said that she has many things to deal with. The 9 regions world is developing and she has to develop herself. Ahaha. Senior brother acted quickly but was a bit blind. We should communicate more and understand each other before acting. It's a bit troublesome now. Night Sorrow said. He understood Jun Xuanji. If Jun Xuanji rejected, then Qing Lin would have no chance. Jun Xuanji wasn't someone who wavered. If he rejected, then he rejected. That's enough. Yi Shang, you don't have to worry about this. He will think of a solution for his own problems. Blindly attacking is a big taboo, said Heavenly Monarch Yufei. She also knew that there was probably no follow-up to this. Jun Xuanji came from the 9 regions world and saw how outstanding Night Sorrow was, so she had a measure in her heart. It was difficult for others to enter her heart. Now that Qing Lin was reckless, her hope was almost destroyed. Night Sorrow made tea and the 3 of them sat down and chatted. Junior brother, you're back. Father showed up. The other party is no longer fighting with us. The army has retreated. They haven't taken advantage of us in the past 2 years, Qing Luan said. That won't do. If they want to fight, then they'll fight. If they feel that they can't win, then they don't want to fight anymore. Don't worry, clean it up bit by bit. Night Sorrow did not plan to stop there. Since the other party attacked the Qing Emperor's dynasty, it meant that they did not care about the Qing Emperor's dynasty at all. Your master also said that you will be in charge of these matters. You can arrange it however you see fit, Misty Rain said. It's not over yet, but for the time being, we should seek stability. Master needs time, and so does eldest senior brother. Let's reorganize, and the next step is to attack the burning heaven tower. The celestial sect is not easy to deal with, so we'll leave it for last. When the Qing Emperor's dynasty has a foundation in the 9 regions world, we can fight however we want. Night Sorrow spoke his thoughts. Little junior brother, the 9 regions world is your territory and you are the world lord. You won't bully us, right? Blue Phoenix looked at Night Sorrow and said. Senior sister, who are you? Your way of thinking is too dirty. In the future, if you have a territory, I won't dare to go there. Your way of thinking is too scary, Night Sorrow said with a smile. I'm just asking. You're thinking too much. Blue Phoenix's face was a little red from Night Sorrow's words. Oh right, your master said that you've become a virtuous sage. What's the situation? Misty Rain looked at Night Sorrow and asked. In other worlds, the virtuous sage does not have much of an effect. They are just blessed by the heavenly Tao and have great luck. But in the 9 regions world, it's different. The actual effect will be displayed, Night Sorrow said. Misty Rain and Blue Phoenix nodded. They understood that the actual effect that Night Sorrow said was the manifestation of battle strength. There was nothing else to do. He still had to wait for the filming to start. Night Sorrow went to the dark abyss for a walk. Datura was very happy with Night Sorrow's arrival. Because Night Sorrow took the initiative to come, it meant that she was in his heart. Night Sorrow gave Datura the soft jade tendon pill. Lightning patterned pill. Not bad. What's its effect? Datura asked with a smile after receiving the pill. Night Sorrow had just told her the effect of the lightning patterned soft jade tendon pill. Okay, at least you have a conscience. You think of me when something good happens, Datura said with a smile. It's not that I don't know how to care about you. It's just that I have too many things to do, Night Sorrow explained. Datura smiled. She knew what was going on. Night Sorrow was indeed busy. There were some things that he could not leave. Night Sorrow rested in the small courtyard that Datura had prepared for him. There was nothing to do on this day. Night Sorrow took out the crystal ball that Xian Daozi had divined and studied it. He did not know where it indicated, nor did he understand why the Haotian God Pagoda would be broken like this. Night Sorrow felt that the Haotian God Pagoda had been damaged when the Human King and Blood Blade Lord fought over it. As for where exactly they fought, it was hard to say. What are you thinking about? Datura came over with a plate of fruit. There were no servants in the small courtyard, so it was quieter. Forever, free this. Look at this. Do you know where this is? Night Sorrow took out the crystal ball and handed it to Datura. Where is this place? Why are you looking for this place? Datura asked Night Sorrow. The Haotian God Pagoda. The broken part of the Haotian God Pagoda is here. I don't know where this is, Night Sorrow said. Datura looked at the crystal ball and thought, I have been in the world of reincarnation for many years, but I have never seen such a scene. It is said that the Human King and Blood Blade Lord fought over the Haotian God Pagoda. I obtained the Human King's cultivation technique in the 9-domain world. I also obtained a part of the Haotian God Pagoda. However, there is something missing in the middle, Night Sorrow said. The Myriad Tao treasured tome was obtained by Night Sorrow in the Medicine Valley. It was obtained by the Medicine Valley Elder in the Supreme River Space. The Haotian God Pagoda appeared in Zhongzhou City. It was lost in the 9-domain world when the mysterious heaven world was in a massacre. There was nothing between the two. After hearing Night Sorrow's explanation, Datura shook his head. Actually, there are many things that we do not know. For example, the person who obtained the Haotian God Pagoda in the 9-domain world found the Myriad Tao treasured tome in the Haotian God Pagoda and passed it to others. The person who obtained the Myriad Tao treasured tome died in the Supreme River Space. Some things do not need to be thought about. It is reasonable that they exist. The problem now is how to find this scene. The result of this divination shows that the broken part of the Hautian god pagoda is not in the hands of a person. If it is in the hands of a person, it should show the person, not the scene, Night Sorrow analyzed. The human king is the human king. The first heaven master, Blood Blade Lord, is also a peerless cultivator. It is hard to say where the battle between them took place. It is possible that they fought across realms. However, I feel that since the Hautian god pagoda appeared in the mysterious heaven world, we should use the mysterious heaven world as the core to search for it. We should see what is in the small spatial worlds around the mysterious heaven world. Since we are not in a hurry, we can slowly search for it. Datura comforted Night Sorrow. Chapter 1335. Then I'll go take a look around the mysterious sky world later. In 2 months, I'll be participating in the auction in Reincarnation City. I plan to buy some things, Night Sorrow said. Buy things. I like to watch the fun too. You can call me when the time comes. I'll go take a look at the treasures too. Datura was also interested. Luo, compared to before, you've changed a lot. Now, you're gentle and sensible. Your aura is completely different from when I first met you. Night Sorrow looked at Datura and said. Perhaps. Actually, I don't really understand it myself. After I transformed into a human, I'm still different from a human. I don't have human emotions. After meeting you, my life has been moving towards perfection and I've had a lot of realizations. Datura said. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He was very happy that Datura had changed so much. He was engaged. If Datura was unruly and unreasonable, he would have a headache. Then, Datura asked Night Sorrow about the cultivation of the Great Death Destruction / Night Sorrow stood up and displayed it for Datura to see. The power is not bad. For you to have such power at your cultivation level, it's the effect of your soul power. A 7-star king has the soul power of a monarch. How did he cultivate it? It's unbelievable. Datura sighed. I've been drinking soul-nurturing tea to cultivate. Also, I have the source of the world. It's helpful in the cultivation of my soul power. Night Sorrow said. Then, Night Sorrow brought Datura to the city in the sky and had a family dinner with his family. Qin Yen and Datura were also very close. They had interacted a lot over the years. Afterward, Xia Lanjun found Night Sorrow. They felt that the 9 regions world's teleportation array was too close to where Night Sorrow lived, and it was not suitable to disturb Night Sorrow and his family's rest. They suggested moving it directly to the Grand Pure Domain. I won't move it to Taiching Domain. I'll move it directly to Hautian City. My clone will stand guard there. As for where else to connect, we'll talk about it later, Night Sorrow said. Then Night Sorrow moved the teleportation formation of Sky City to Hautian City and set up another teleportation formation in Hautian City to connect to Sky City. Night Sorrow could fly from the Hautian City to the city in the sky in a few breaths of time, but others couldn't. After all, there were people with low cultivation. With this arrangement, Night Sorrow wanted to give his family some peace and quiet. Accompanying his family, accompanying his wife, and sometimes guiding his son and daughter in their cultivation, Night Sorrow felt that this was what he had always wanted. It was just that he had yet to complete his responsibilities. In addition, it was Night Sorrow's dream to continue on the path of becoming a master. After relaxing for 2 months, Night Sorrow, Misty Rain, and Datura went to Samsara City together because the auction was about to begin. Datura had a mansion in Samsara City, but she didn't live there usually, so the servants cleaned it. Night Sorrow and the other 2 went in to rest. The auction is not very clean. In fact, the auction house is the place where Thunderfire Heaven Monarch keeps his treasures, Datura said. Is there such a thing? Misty Rain was surprised. I knew it a long time ago, but I was too lazy to tell you. This time, Knight Sorrow's treasures can be exchanged fairly, so I won't argue with him. If he plays dirty, then don't blame me for falling out with him. If I say he is the Castellan, then he is the Castellan. If I say I don't care about him, then he is nothing, Datura said. Now, Knight Sorrow was Datura's soft spot. No one could touch him, not even Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch. I don't think so. After all, my master's wife came with him last time. Before he does something, he will think twice, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Datura nodded. Don't underestimate Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch. He knows how to play tricks very well. He is a person who is two-faced. He makes a good reputation just to get to the top. Knight Sorrow nodded. He knew that some things could not be judged by appearances. There must be a reason why Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch could become the Castellan of Samsara City. He must have his strong points. Even if he was just pretending, he must be very experienced. After a day's rest, the three of them arrived at the auction house in the evening. Seeing Datura, Manager Meng was stunned for a moment. Then, he hurriedly bowed to greet him. The income of the auction house is the income of Samsara City. It is also part of the Dark Abyss. Hurry up and send it over. Do you have to wait for me to ask for it? Datura was very impolite. Okay, I will send the income aside from the city guards to the Dark Abyss soon, Manager Meng replied with his hands folded. In the world of Samsara, if one were to talk about who should not be provoked, no one would be ahead of Datura. Find a quiet place with a good view. Datura looked at Manager Meng and instructed. She was also one of the elders of Samsara City. Manager Meng was in charge of the auction house, so he was also her subordinate. Manager Meng led the way in front and found a good place. He was a little worried that there would be changes. Dark Abyss Heaven Monarch could scare others, but he could easily annoy Datura if he scared Datura. Aluo, why are you so fierce? Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Then he is not a good person. You don't have to be nice to him. Datura looked down on Manager Meng. Misty Rain smiled. She knew that this was Datura. If he liked something, he liked it. If he disliked something, he disliked it. He would not hide it. There were more and more people in the auction house. The auction house was in the middle and there were high-rise pavilions on all sides. It was guaranteed that the auction house could be seen from all sides. Every room had a number plate. It was very clear who was bidding. Many of them are businessmen who come here to look for treasures. They just want to see if they can make a profit. Datura said. I wonder if we can exchange for a better time acceleration magic treasure this time. Knight Sorrow looked at the auction house and said. If we can find one, we will exchange it. If not, we will wait. When your master recovers, we will collect the materials. Misty Rain said. Knight Sorrow nodded. If there was a suitable one, they would exchange it. If not, they would wait. It was a good idea. When the lanterns were lit, the auction house was full of people. The auction house had prepared and advertised in advance. The items that Knight Sorrow brought were all of the best quality. The auction house had to advertise. Even if Thunder Fire Heaven Monarch did not want to, he could not bully some people. Then a photographer came forward and stood on the platform in the middle of the pavilions. Thank you for coming. There are many good items to be auctioned today. Don't miss it. The photographer cupped his hands to all sides. The first item to be auctioned was a high-grade king weapon battle knife. The bidding was also very hot. Knight Sorrow was a blacksmith. He did not need weapons or armor, but there were too many people who needed them. The bidding went from a few hundred Saint Spirit stones to a few thousand, then tens of thousands. Finally, it was sold at 30,000 Saint Spirit stones. After the battle knife was auctioned, it was a high-grade king weapon armor. It was also very hot. This item is also very expensive. Blacksmiths are very popular. Datura looked to the other side as he spoke. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.